Podcast League now. Starring the Casablanca Kid. He turns good taste into bad. Movie hero. He has a stutter, but he's smooth like butter. And Pez, with the ability to Pez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Podcast League Now. It's been a little while since we've done this thing. It's literally been about 6 months since we've done one of these. So
has it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Time flies.
The last one was at the end of September, which is crazy.
I like to think we just went into like a winter hibernation, and now we're like emerging from our caves and ready to podcast again. You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, but this is something that I want to start doing on a weekly basis. We don't really have a set time for it yet. For right now, it's just going to be whenever we have some free time to just do it. So we'll always try and announce it on all of our social media and let you guys know when we're going to be doing it. Eventually, we might try and nail down a set time, but for the time being, we're just doing it when we can. But anyways, I'm your host, Jordan Movie Hero Anderson, and as always, I got Austin Pez Howell with me. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm all right. Just hanging out. I've worked about 7 days in a row, so I'm just kind of winding off that and ready for my day off tomorrow. So, I've just been hanging out, working, and watching stuff in between whenever I can. You know me. I'm always watching something for some show, pretty much. We talked about how like it's we try to work stuff in just for our own watches, but it's kind of difficult when I got so much stuff to watch things for, so this week I'm watching stuff for me and Jacob Barber's show. We're gonna do a unique little thing. I won't spoil too much, but we're gonna take each other's top tens and rank them where we would rank them. So we're gonna each take each other's lists, and like he sent me his 10. And I would be like, where would I put those 10, like in order, rank them and vice versa with mine. So I'm just watching 2 or 3 of his movies on the list that I just haven't seen in a while. And then he's got to catch up on a few of mine too. So filling a couple of blind spots. So there's always something. I was watching Singing in the Rain before we went live today on HBO Max. So,
nice.
which I've seen before, but I hadn't seen in probably 10, 15 years. I mean, it's been a minute. So, but we'll see what I think about that movie when we rank it. So that'll be fun.
Nice. Yeah, I just started watching Monty Python Life of Brian. I watched about half of it. I'm not finished with it yet. So kind of working my way through that because we got our comedy championship for tier ranker tomorrow night. So I have 2 movies that I haven't seen. I got to watch that, and I got to watch Meatballs. So that's still on my list.
Meatballs is fun, but I don't think in the comedy championship it's going to even sniff the top 10. But that's just me personally. If somebody's going to make an argument for it, that's fine. But that Monty Python movie is. You remember our episode of the 70s we did is my favorite Monty Python movie. Personally, I just think it's like a little more creative and fun. Like I know people swear by Holy Grail, and that's all good. I think Life of Brian is really, really funny, and I like the way it kind of tackles how religion can be born out of a misunderstanding. I think it's kind of funny. It's just a fun thing. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I enjoy the dude as his mom is always fun, and some good stuff in there. Some good stuff in there, but we'll see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's been a little while since we done one of these. So just to remind people, we just kind of just like have a conversation. We have a few kind of loose topics. We'll kind of just go back and forth on, but I mean, we just kind of see where the conversation takes us.
Hey, if we go on some tangents and some turns and some detours, it doesn't matter because this isn't a tier ranker fight or a tournament fight. We're just chit-chatting about stuff. So if we go on a tangent about some topic or some movie or whatever, it is what it is. You just have to bear with us.
Yep,
That's what the
exactly.
show's all
But
about.
we got Brian in the chat though. He says that the comedy championship's going to be a tough one
Yeah,
for next
yeah,
year. It's gonna.
yeah. I mean, we're doing that literally as we're recording this. That's tomorrow night, and yeah, I think we both, Jordan, have kind of made our little list of like what we would advocate for, for top 10. I made like a
Yeah.
top 20 that like, if the 10 necessarily don't make it in, I'd be okay with like my voting for my 11 through 20, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
That would be kind of borderline, but. I think it's funny how we do these championships, right? And we did the horror one, right? It was the same thing where I think when you finally put together those lists, it's like I always see a pretty obvious like elite class out of even those 50, and then there's ones that kind of stand out that are like, man, they're really great for that decade, but like overall in the pantheon of history, I don't think they stack up to some of these other ones. So there might be a similar thing with the comedy, but we'll kind of see where they end up.
Yeah, because like I'm doing something kind of unique for this one. If I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to kind of get into it more on the actual episode. But I started the letterbox, so like I know that a bunch of people have been telling me that I need to start one, so I finally did that. But I haven't ranked my favorite movies yet. I'm kind of using it, mostly in conjunction with tier ranker fights specifically, because you can take whatever the list is and you can rank everything, and that kind of helps you have a little better idea of where you want to put it on which tier. And so I'm going to kind of follow that like kind of loosely. I'm going to give some leeway to like one of my favorite movies doesn't make it, but then someone else is really high on it, and like I'm like pretty high on it, like if I have it in like like the 11th or the 12th spot, I may just say like, yeah, sure, why not, we'll put it in the S tier or something like that. So yeah,
it's kind of like how whenever we do Malcolm's like top 12 rankum show, it's like I always like make my own personal list, but I always try to say like not just my 12. I try to do like my 15 or 16, 17. You know what I mean? So whatever the topic is, always just once they're kind of on the border that if somebody can make a argument for, if one of mine doesn't make it, I'm cool with this other one. You always got to have those like alternates, that you're fine with. But yeah, it's like. It should be a fun episode though. I'm looking forward to it. It's always good to talk comedy, and then after that we'll be gearing up for our sports championship once we round out that series. So we got a couple of those championship things coming up. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That'll be fun too. We got to get the combat sports out of the way, but yeah,
we got that one still coming up. We did right before WrestleMania, so that'll be kind of cool to coincide with that. So
because there'll be a couple of pro wrestling movies in there. I don't think there's any pro wrestling. Okay, to be fair, there's one pro wrestling movie. I think if you thought about it hard enough, you could figure it out that could make the S tier. There's a certain
I'm thinking of.
Certain Mickey Rourke film. I think you can figure it out, but that might be the only one. I don't think your No Holds Barred is going to make it, but it'll be fun regardless.
No, or like Ready to Rumble, like a bunch of those.
I mean, we could talk about them. They're always fun to talk about, but yeah, as far as the top 12, or top 10, combat sports movies, nah. And I've got a unique thing when I was putting together my rough draft for that one, a criteria for what makes that, because there's tons of martial arts films, right? Movies where guys are going around kicking and punching people, and that's all well and good. But to me, to be a combat sports movie in general that has something like that, it needs to have some kind of tournament aspect to it or some kind of competition in the movie. So, for instance, what I laid out is, let's take the Karate Kid movies, for example, right? So the first one would count because there's the All Valley tournament at the end, right? Now, the second one does not feature a tournament. It's just him over in Okinawa, and he fights Shozen, in the little place at the end, right? So there's no tournament. So Karate Kid 2 does not count. Karate Kid 3 does have the tournament where he's fighting Mike Barnes at the end, so that one does count. And the remake with Jaden Smith counts because he's in a tournament at the end. So, but the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank does not, because she's not in the tournament in that movie. See how it works? So it's one of those things where I included 1 and 3 in the remake, but not the other 2. So I'll make that clear on the episode. But it's kind of getting into my brain on how I kind of do these things when I put together these lists.
And then you have the Jaden Smith one, which I've only seen one time. I don't remember if there's a tournament in that or not. I don't.
It's on there because he does the little backwards kick to the dude on the platform in the tournament. Like
Okay.
there's
That's what it
there's a
is.
tournament. He's got his gi on and he's fighting the because in that one it's like the Chinese kids in that movie all have like these red uniforms or something on. They're like a big team, and it's just him like by himself, kind of like Daniel in the first one. He fights them, and even stuff like Bloodsport. It's like an underground tournament, but it's still a tournament. It's still a competition.
Yep.
So
Still a tournament.
that counts. But Van Damme running around in some movie like Sudden Death or something, just fighting dudes in an arena, like as far as some other sporting event does not count. So that's a little peek into my brain as how Jordan kind of farms out some of these lists to me sometimes that you got to work on my off time. So that's what I do. And then because he does all the other technical stuff, of course. So I kind of help whenever I can as far as that goes.
Like Sudden Death, that might make our like best action movies of the 80s maybe coming up. So we got that one.
Oh, I mean, stuff like that would be, eligible for that. But yeah, as far as the combat sports thing, that's what we roll on.
Yeah. But Jonathan Peck over in the chat, he was asking about the tag team one. We're probably going to be doing the tag team one, I think, the week after that.
Probably, so. Yeah. I mean, we want to do another wrestling thing as far as like a tournament fight because we did that. The singles, male singles wrestlers thing. That was months ago too. It's been a while since we did that, but and it kind of ties into our topic. We're talking about update on the movie here now, so you're getting a little sneak peek into what we're planning here in the future. But yeah, we want to do another wrestling one focused on tag teams. Probably around the same time of WrestleMania, maybe like a week after or something like that. We'll work it in because it would tie in nicely. This time we won't. There's a guy named Nico who was on that show one time. We're probably gonna not have him on. No disrespect to the guy; he's a nice guy, but boy, does he just talk forever and ever and ever. So we just gotta. It's just we can't spend the whole show breaking down the Wikipedia for every wrestler and every tag team. So and the title histories. It's like we just got to go. So we'll put together some of our guys. There's enough guys in our little circle of people, Richie and Jacob Barber, Jordan Owens. All those guys are wrestling fans. So we'll probably try to work that out, and we'll do a tag team one because I had already started that list too, just as a little side project. So we'll figure that out, and we'll do tag teams, and then maybe in the future down the line we'll do female wrestlers. We'll do maybe factions or something. We'll do some cool stuff like that. Yeah, that'll be kind of an ongoing series.
And a little behind the scenes thing is that so I'm gonna create all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm not actually gonna be on that episode because I'm a casual wrestling fan, but like when it comes to tag team, maybe know like 3 or 4, and it's like
he would know like the most famous visual ones, like like the Road Warriors and things, guys like that. But but if we start talking about the difference between the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express, you might be like, I don't know which one's which,
sure.
or sure, this guy, So no, that's fine. So it might be a thing where Jacob Barber might like run the stream and I'll co-host with him, and then we'll get Jordan Owens and Richie and maybe Steve Mason or something like that. Yeah, some of those guys. And we'll do a show like that. But yeah, we'll figure it out, and that'll be a fun one we can do for sure. So
So and let's see. Oh yeah, so they're just suggesting some movies that. Jonathan Peck was saying in the comment one, Nacho Libre.
Oh yeah, oh no, Nacho Libre is on the list. Yeah, because it's a wrestling movie, but he actually has wrestling matches. As long as he has wrestling actual matches, it's not just because the wrestler with Mickey Rourke is on there because yes, it's more just about his life, but within the movie he has wrestling matches. I mean, he has multiple segments where he's having matches, so wrestling matches count. Nacho Libre is on there. Yeah, I mean, no holds barred, like I said with the. No, don't get me. We'll get to that, Malcolm. Nacho Libre when we actually get into the episode. I won't tell you what I'd rank it on there. I might rewatch it. To be fair, it's been probably 12 years since I watched that movie, but I think it's on Netflix, so I'll rewatch it. But I remember having not like a super negative reaction to that movie, but just being like, and it's always tricky when they portray pro wrestling and movies, especially from somebody like me, Jordan, who's actually been in the wrestling business, who was a referee in the wrestling business for 15 years, and how like kind of the inner workings work, and how they get it wrong a lot of the times on how wrestling actually works. It's always frustrating. So there's only a few movies that have kind of got it right, but yeah, we'll address that on the episode. But yeah, but the criteria I was talking about, where it needs to be some kind of competitive aspect to the martial arts, or the pro wrestling, or the amateur wrestling, or whatever the case may be. That's kind of my format for that show when we get to it. There needs to be something in that like that.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, we also do a little bit kind of like behind the scenes, kind of get to know your hosts a little bit. I don't know how far we want to go back, because it's literally been 6 months. Like, how was your Christmas? How was your Halloween? Like,
I know, right? We missed all the major holidays. Yeah, it's. I don't think going back to like Halloween, I don't think I did anything. I really don't remember. I think I like had to work the next morning, so I didn't really do much. I think I watched a couple of horror movies, like, which is what I usually do. But I know the year before that, I went out to a couple of the breweries around here. I always do like little things, but I don't remember dressing up this past year, because the year before that I did my Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park costume. Newman from Seinfeld. Jurassic Park. I have that costume.
That's cool.
I have a few on standby. I've got like my Penguin and my Lex Luthor and my Dennis Nedry and a couple of things kind of on standby in boxes and things. But yeah, I didn't really do much. And then for Christmas, all my family lives up here now, where I live in North Carolina, so I don't have to travel. I literally just roll up the street, and usually I just stay overnight the night before. Nice. We do kind of I head over there for Christmas Eve, and we're all just there, the next morning. But yeah, it's super easy now. So, I mean, I know you guys, you got a big family, so I don't know if you guys did a big like Christmas get together. I'm sure, kind of closer. Yeah,
we did. Yeah. So for Halloween, I'll just say that I dressed up as Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and I posted a couple pictures on my social media. Maybe I can bring them up again, like, well, not on this episode, but maybe dig them up and like repost them on my social media. But I didn't really originally plan to do that. I decided when I was out working one day, they had me go into a store that was right next to one of those Halloween costume store, like Spirit Halloween or something like that. So
one of those ones that they just rent out whatever empty spaces are in town, some like empty department store space or something like that. And every year you see those pop up, in those empty rents. I mean, it's a smart idea. They just pop up for a couple months and they leave. But yeah.
Yeah. So I was just looking around just to see if they had anything, and then I found the last Sora costume that they had there was in my size. I figured that I had the Keyblade literally just hanging on my wall.
That's what I was gonna say. It's right there on the wall. You might as well do something with it. You got the major prop that goes with it, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Kind of just sitting right there. Oh, you just need you just got like one of those like spiky wig things, right? Just to get the hair kind of on point.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the wig, what I actually had to do, actually bought a wig from a Naruto costume, so it was bright yellow, but I found a way to dye it. Like, I looked it up online how to do it, and it actually worked really, really well. I was just able to just dye the spiky wig, and it actually turned out perfect. So it worked out.
And if you ever needed to like spike it up more, you just put like some kind of super strong hair gel in there. You spike it up real nice. get like that gel at the store that literally says like super hold, like super strong, like and just get it to like stick.
Or the stuff when I use when my hair gets longer, use this got to be glued stuff. They literally call it glue, like hair glue. So yeah. And then it gets so glued you can just chip it right off afterwards. You just break your little hair follicles goes right off, and you just that's how you give yourself a haircut later, because you can't unstick it. There's no need for a haircut, right? Yeah.
No, that's good.
But yeah, for Christmas though, we just did a big get together at my dad's house, because some of my family lives here, but it's kind of like an in between, because I live right in between Boise and Salt Lake as far as where I live in Idaho, and so I got some family that can come. It's about a 3-hour drive from Boise, about a 2-hour drive from Salt Lake. So we just kind of all meet in the middle. My dad just bought a brand new house that's pretty big. It's got 6 bedrooms, and he was living here all by himself for a while, so it's like he's got plenty of room. So yeah. Yeah, so we did.
Everybody converge.
Yep. So we converged there, and yeah, we weren't sure if we were going to get everyone. Like, it's kind of like a last minute thing to see if everyone was going to make it. But I have 5 siblings, and then my parents are recently divorced, so they're not living together. But they're we were able to get everyone together. My mom came down, all my siblings, everyone. So guess
Yeah,
it's a fun time to have everyone
we
together.
had one extra person in the house this year because uh, my sister had a baby this past year, so
Oh, nice.
so we had one extra family member. So of course, whenever
That's
there's a
fun.
new baby, it's all about the baby. So all the Christmas was about the baby's first, Christmas time and things like that. But it's all good, and those will get more fun as they get older, obviously, and they kind of appreciate more, toys and things, and
Yeah.
they get to move around a little bit. But yeah, she was just kind of just laying there doing her thing, but it's still fun. But we do all that. We have the 2 dogs, my parents' dog, and then my dog.
Nice.
So, but yeah, we were just hanging out and doing our thing. It didn't snow on Christmas this year. It snowed on Christmas. We actually got snow on Christmas Eve the year before
Yeah.
last. And
Oh,
and so that was cool. We literally had like a white Christmas. Like it snowed on
yeah.
Christmas Eve, and then we woke up to the snow out there. And then it's actually ended up snowing like 3 weeks later. We got a whole bunch dumped on us. We got like over a foot of snow a couple weeks later. So that was pretty rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because here it's like where we're at. We're kind of near the mountains, so we get the higher elevated areas that are kind of outside of town here. We'll usually get like some kind of snow, and then we'll get like an inch or 2 inches or 3 inches, a couple. And then this was like 3 or 4 years ago when we had like a foot dumped on us overnight. So
Oh, dang.
that's pretty thick. Yeah, it was rough. So yeah, it had the. I think I showed you some of the pictures. My car was pretty much like buried up in
Yeah.
snow for a little while. Got to dig it out, but I'm sure you guys are used to that up there in the Northwest up there too, used to that snow in the
Oh, yeah.
wintertime.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
had a white Christmas, and I can't remember when exactly that it was. We've had 2 or 3 times where we've gotten about 6 inches to a foot of snow, and I'm pretty sure that one out of the 3 actually stayed really cold, so it stuck around for a long time. But usually that
Mhm.
stuff melts away pretty quick. We have really bipolar weather; like it'll be the freezing cold for a couple of days, and we'll get dumped on, and then it'll warm up, and it'll all melt and stuff. So it's just kind of weird. It's like
Yeah, this one
all over the
stuck.
place.
I had snow in
Hmm.
front of my. I'm in a little condo complex, so like there's a little small garden in front of my door, and it doesn't get any direct sunlight during the day, just the way everything's positioned with the trees and the buildings and stuff. So that
Hmm.
stuff, as long as it was still relatively cold, which it was, stuck around in front of my house for like a month. Like it was like
Oh,
buried
yeah.
under a foot of snow for like a month. I mean, just sat there. Like the streets, melted down and everything. But that one, because it wasn't getting any sun, just kind of sat there for a little while.
Yeah.
And that's always frustrating. Or you see like they pile all the snow in the corners of the roads, or like the big
Yeah.
piles, on the
Yeah, the big
sidewalks.
giant
They
pile.
plow into them and they take forever to melt. Just because it just takes a minute and it gets all dirty
Yeah.
and you get like dirt snow
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yep.
Gray snow. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Well, I probably shoveled my uh, driveway maybe more than I ever have in my entire life just this year because the last 6 years I live in Washington State in a couple places and they don't really get hardly any snow up there. For the last year of it, I was living in Spokane and they got a little snow over there, but near Seattle it doesn't really almost ever snow there, so I never had to worry about
Mhm.
it. But here I think I shoveled my driveway at least like 5 or 6 times, something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, I
it's a
ended
little
up staying
colder
with
here.
my folks at their place just because they have some backup stuff, if needed. They have like this one of those stoves in the living room that like you can make a fire inside of it, and it like heats up the
Oh,
entire
nice.
house almost like it's like one of those giant
Those are
things. So
nice.
yeah, and they built the house with that in mind. So they had that as like a backup in case we never actually lost power though. It was interesting. Like we never lost it because it
That's
never
good.
really iced up, but we still had to dig out the driveway, like the little things, and take my mom and I ended up carpooling because we work at the same grocery store. She works in the pharmacy and I work in grocery. Um,
Oh, okay.
we ended up carpooling and taking my dad's he's got one of the newer Ford Rangers, so it's got 4-wheel drive. So we ended up just carpooling every day, just whenever we could. Because at that point, it's like at the stores, it's like whoever can get there whenever. It's like they have to kind of throw schedules out the window. It's just like whoever can can show up to the store. Whoever's not snowed in at the time, who can make it to work. So that's kind of how it ended up working.
Yeah. So are you still getting quite a few hours at work compared to the holidays? Does it kind of drop down a little for you, or are you still
It's one of those things where they around this time it kind of slows down a little bit, so they're just getting more antsy about like people getting overtime. So we used to, like, during the holidays, I'd be sticking around and I was getting like 50, 55, 60 hours, a week, because I was staying, 2 or 3 hours extra every day, something like that. And they're getting a little more antsy about that now that the business is down a little bit. Some of the people go back to Florida for a little while and then they come back up here in the summertime. So, so the business comes back eventually, but it's kind of weird like that. And then they're going to have me rotating with another guy as far as like opens and closes, so it'd be a little weird. But yeah, so we'll see what'll happen. But yeah, it's one of those things where the business comes back eventually. But we do have those dry spells because we have a lot of the people around here are from Florida. Like pretty much every other person you talk to is like a Florida person. Like especially a lot of the communities around here are all these people that they're like Florida retirees who have like homes literally like in both spots. Like they bounce back and forth from Florida to here. They're just rich Florida retirees, that bounce back and forth. So, I mean, every other person you go like, oh, where are you originally from? Oh, I'm from so and so Florida, so and so Florida, so and so Florida. It's all Florida people up here for whatever reason, bouncing back and forth. So we get a lot.
Yeah, it's like in Idaho, it's all California people, and like people always complain like
that's the country,
California.
Yeah.
But, well, they move up there because they get like either sick of the way that like the mayor's running things, or like the governor, like or they just like it's too expensive there, so they want to move to a small town. And then people here always complain, oh, well, all these damn Californians coming up and like ruining everything and like overpopulating, taking all the jobs. It's like, well, I mean, people got to go somewhere. Like I don't really care. Like,
it's one of those things where like Hendersonville is like right outside of Asheville, and it's like they're having a kind of a housing crunch where it's like there's just not enough like housing for all the people that are moving here, and it's one of those things where like it's a small, it like feels like a small town, but it's got all the big stuff, but like everybody's always like, all right, but we're full, like don't anybody else move here. Like we're full. Like go away, because there's literally like no apartments. Like I had to live with my folks for 6 months when I was trying to find a place to where I eventually found the condo I'm at right now, which I mortgaged and all that. But if I wanted to sell my place, I could right now with the housing prices that are kind of going crazy right now, and the housing, it's definitely like a seller's market rather than a buyer's market. So if I wanted to, I can make a pretty hefty profit on my condo. The only downside is I don't have anywhere to go. There's literally nowhere else to go. There's no like nothing available. So like everything that goes on the market around here gets scooped up literally within like a day or two. I mean, you can list something and you get like for like almost immediately. So it's
crazy how that's working. So
it's one of those things where I could have a bunch of money in my bank account and sell my place, but I wouldn't have anywhere to actually live. I'd just be like I'd be stuck. So
my brother who lives down the road, he's a real estate agent, and like he's been telling me about that, how like a house goes on the market within 24 hours, it's already sold. It's like crazy. It's like really
even sometimes even earlier than that. I had to get mine because I had to actually get a realtor, and because if you didn't have one, the realtor, they have like this thing where they can get what they call like the hot sheets, so they can get like the early listings before they actually go public. They get like the blueprints of them or whatever, so they get them like 2 days before they go on, and so they'll keep you updated. So she actually like let me know, hey, this one's about to go, like but you basically have to like offer the listing price like immediately, you know what I mean? Like you can't like negotiate. They'll just come in and offer more, a day later. So you just have to go for it. And it's just one of those things that we just had to do it. So but I got lucky. It was the one I got here is a 2-2, like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that I one of my coworkers rents out the other room. because they're kind of separate the way it's laid out. But I got lucky because all the 2-2s I looked at, or 2-1s, all the 2-1 little houses I looked at were like 850 square feet or something like that, which is about the size my house in Florida was. So I wanted something a little bit bigger, but all the 2-2s I looked at, most of them were like 1,100 square feet. You know, it was like a 2-2, but you know, small living room kind of a thing. I got lucky. This one's a 2-2, and it's almost 1,500 square feet. So like I have a pretty good sized room, and I have a really massive living room. Like the living room I'm in right now is actually very large. So I was able to spread out everything. Like I said, you've seen the picture. I got all the movies like all on the wall over there. Like I got plenty of room for all the stuff, and room to put my entertainment stuff over here, like my TV and my my center over here. So I'm very lucky in that regard. I'm very happy with the place I have. But yeah,
that was like me and my ex-wife, our last place. We got like really lucky because it's the same thing where we're like even rentals were getting snatched up fast too. So so it's like but we're able to get into this apartment. Ours was 1,600 square feet, so like close to the same size as yours. We even had a little garage on there. We got really lucky to even be able to get it because they were going so fast. We actually had to contact them and just see if they have any people moving out within the next couple of months, and then just get on like a waiting list for it. So we just did that, and then we were able to get that. So my next place, because now, like for anyone who doesn't know, I'm living with my dad after my divorce, so he's kind of helping me get back on my feet. But I'm hoping by the end of the year to have my own place. So I got to start looking into that. And my dad lives in a small town, so probably like my kind of plan is I'm probably going to end up like in the Salt Lake area, because my sister lives there, and one of my brothers and my grandparents. So I have quite a bit of family down there, and it's like small towns are not a good place for like a single person to live and like to really like make friends, find dating opportunities, things to do. So I just end up just staying home, like hanging out with my family. Like there's not really a lot to do here, so it's like I kind of feel like I got to get to like a bigger like city or something like that. So
yeah, no, I'm the same. It's the same thing. Like Hendersonville is like I basically tell people whenever they ask me like where I'm from or where I'm living now, I basically say Asheville, because like people know what Asheville is, you know, but they don't know like what Hendersonville is. But it's basically like, you know, I'm about 10 miles outside of Asheville, you know, in Hendersonville. You know, you just jump on the highway like 10-15 minutes and you're in Asheville. But the thing about Asheville is that like that's the bigger part of the city. But Hendersonville is like, it's amazing how different the dynamics are. And like, I won't get into like politics or anything, but like Asheville's very like liberal, like blue state kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Kind of like Austin, Texas, you know, in the greater Texas scheme of things. So but Hendersonville is very like red state, like Trump supporters, like very like Republican, you know, kind of a thing. But it's amazing how close they are. But like that's kind of the different dynamic, you know, because one's like older folks, you know, older population, and the other one's like the younger people that are a little more like Democrat liberal kind of things. But yeah, so like if you go to like a brewery, let's say here in Hendersonville, it'd be like a lot of older folks, and it's still cool. Like, but you'll go to like one in Asheville, and I've been to ones at Asheville where it's like it's all younger folks, but you know it's all the people with like blue hair and you know pink hair and and the hipster glasses and you know people wearing goofy suspenders and all that kind of stuff. You know, hey, if that's what you're into, that's cool. I'm just stating a fact. Like that's what you'll see, and it's like a very very different dynamic just a few minutes up the road. So it's kind of fascinating like that. You know how they're so close but they're so far. But I mean, you know, you've seen, you know, Austin, Texas is like that, you know, compared to like, you know, Dallas or something, you know, to where Austin is like kind of this haven for like hipsters and more liberal, like younger people and things like that. And as opposed to like the greater Texas area. So it's very similar to that. Exactly. So but it's hard to find anybody, to hang out with in Hendersonville because it skews so old. Like my grocery store I work at, it's like mostly people above 50 that come in and shop there. You know, I only get a few young people or a few young couples, or if there's any younger people, it's all like couples, you know, people that have like a young kid or something like that. But it's mostly like people over 50 that like shop in my store. So it's like a lot of older folks. Yeah, it's hard to meet people to hang out with other than occasionally some of my coworkers. But outside of that, it's kind of tough to kind of lock down something like that. I know you've had the same kind of issue where you live, because it's probably kind of similar there. Yeah.
Especially when I lived in Washington too. Like when I lived in Seattle, that was all like liberal and like very very liberal leaning. Then I moved to Spokane and it's way more conservative. That there's a lot of Trump supporters over there, but not so much in Seattle. Like you'll have parts of the city that'll say like not my president. They have like pictures of Donald Trump with it crossed out. They have like the whole like.
But isn't it amazing how like in the same state you can have like those different pockets like that, you know, like
Yeah.
of like one city or one town is like one thing and one is another. Like it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like no matter what the state is over. I mean, Florida is the same way. Like when I lived in Florida, Jacksonville is very like is mostly kind of conservative, although it's kind of borderline. But then you'll go to like Orlando's kind of mixed, but then Miami's more blue, you know, or like this pocket, whatever the case is. But like it's all the same states. Like it's so weird how that kind of stuff emerges. Like, you know, that's why they call them. I mean, I guess Jordan, that's why they call them swing states. You know, it's like right. They their way depending on however many people are vote in that election or however many people do whatever. So we're not making this political. It's just like I'm just talking about the demographics of where I live. And kind of like that's just a fact. Like if you look at the voting records of Hendersonville, North Carolina, it's like 90% red. So it's just a fact. But it's funny how that kind of stuff emerges, you know, and works out depending on just who's living there. But Hendersonville's a weird place like that, and I'm sure Pocatello is kind of a weird pocket like that. I haven't been there yet, but you know, you got kind of a small town little thing. So
and also Pocatello is kind of just over 2 hours from Salt Lake, which usually is the state of Utah. They've been pretty conservative. There's a lot of Mormon population there and stuff, but like recently the actual city of Salt Lake has been becoming a lot more liberal lately. Like I think that
Salt Lake is. I think the hipsters and the younger people moved in there too. Like they kind of took over some of those places because there's a podcast I listen to called the Geek Show podcast, and they're based out of Salt Lake, and it's like they had one of the guys like they used to do their movie review show at a place called Broovies. It's like a cinema pub there, and it's a very like kind of hipster, you know, those places like that kind of, you know, they set up like the craft beers and the breweries and things like that, you know. So it's very much like they'll you know, it's usually not like the whole city, but you'll see like those pockets within the city that set up like those cool, they'll set up like restaurants, you know, in the little area or little shops, you know, but kind of set up their own little area, you know. They'll kind of invade and start all their own little businesses. You have the little havens. I mean, you get the ones in Asheville that are like, okay, here's the one row that has all the vegan restaurants, you know, or the plant-based, you know, whatever restaurants, you know, whatever the interesting thing is, or the breweries that have like all just nothing but just like craft stuff and IPAs and things like that. And you'll go to another one that has more traditional beers and things. So there's always those things that are weird to navigate. But it's interesting. Like if you ever came to Asheville, which I think we're gonna do something in September is what we're trying to do. Yeah. Like I could show you how weird it can be from like one street to another up there. Like it's very very strange. You know, they set up those little pockets and stuff.
Yeah, I can see it kind of like the pros and cons to it, because like the pros are like at least you can find where everything is because they're kind of all like congregated into one like central location. But at the same time, it'd be kind of nice like if people kind of just like intermingled more and kind of mixed in a little more, and you had like people from all different walks of life living in the same place. You know, I would kind of like that, because that's one of the reasons why I moved over to Seattle, because I wanted to get some more diversity in my life. Because like growing up, I think like my high school was like 95% white. I think we had like maybe like four black kids, and everyone wanted to be their friend because they thought it made them cool. And then they had like a small pocket of
something different,
a little bit. And then and then for some reason we had a weird population of like Bosnians there, because we had a big spot for like refugees, I guess. So there's a lot of refugees there. But besides that, though, like it was like all white. So I live in this little bubble where there's almost no crime. Everyone's white, and it's just I just feel like I need to get a little more diversity in my life. So like go where there's some other races and actually be immersed in that culture and kind of experience it a little bit, you know?
We have a place called there's a place that's set up in Hendersonville, this little taco place called it's called the White Duck Taco, and it's like in Hendersonville, right? But it's funny how it's run by, you know, it's one of these kind of Asheville kind of hipster places, right? And it's all these young people that bought, and they have one in Asheville as well, but they opened up one in Hendersonville where they have all these crazy kind of tacos, right? So you can get like literally like you can get like a duck taco, with duck meat on it, and it's like, or you can get like a gyro taco, so it's like the lamb meat and all that kind of stuff, and the tzatziki sauce and things, or you can get like all these different kind of like tacos that are off the beaten path. I mean, you can still go get like just a regular like beef or chicken taco, but like they got all these kind of crazy, they're like hipster tacos essentially, all these nutty things. But like they set up in Hendersonville and like people love it. Like all these older folks have like gone to it and like just for something different, and they all like really like it. Like it's a really nice place they've set up. They got a nice little outdoor like dining area, and like people go and hang out there. So you never know what can happen because these places can set up in these places where you wouldn't think they would be terribly successful, but they can be, if people are willing to go and try something. It's like there's another place kind of off Main Street that's like this it's like the soul food place that this black family owns, and despite the fact that Hendersonville is like 95% white too, it's just like it's just the way it is. I'm just laying out the demographics, it's just what it is. And but like that place gets busy all the time. Like people love it, because it's good food. Like they just want to see like but it's funny how they're also about like just supporting small businesses. Like a lot of these places like to go to these small places and just eat and support these small places and try different stuff. And especially if they put out quality I think it's just more about putting out quality stuff. I mean, if you open up a small place and it was just garbage, like it would go out of business real quick. But sometimes places set up something different, but as long as it's good, people will go there and check it out. So it's kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah, we had a place like that when I was living up in Spokane. It was a Philly cheesesteak place, but they had like Philly cheesesteaks from like all different parts of the world. They had like a kimchi one from like Korea, and then they had like a Taiwan, and they had like one with like a bunch of chili peppers and hot sauce for like Mexico. They had a bunch of different ones from like all over the world, but they had regular ones too. So, but you can like build your own with all that like unique stuff, and people really liked it up there. So yeah.
I mean, I think who cares like what it is, as long as it's good and it's quality and they put some effort into it. I mean, if you open up a place like that, but it was like the worst meat and it was horrible bread and it was just bad service, like of course it would go out of business. But I think people are willing to try things and support small places like that as long as they put an effort into it, or if they're doing something unique. That's always interesting. So. So what do you think? Should we bring back to movies a little bit, since this is the Movie Hero Network, and kind of pick off of that? So maybe just talk about what we've been watching lately, or something like that, or some
just topic. Real quick. There's just one thing that I wanted to get your
go ahead.
Your thoughts on really quick that I was like pretty interested in. Like it's not like movie news that's 100% confirmed, but it's like, but it's like stuff that's like I'm pretty sure is going to happen in some form. Or another, but so there's this YouTube channel that I follow. It's called The Cosmic Wonder, and like usually a lot of the things that he reports on, they're like pretty accurate for the most part, because like he was talking about how Marvel wants to make a whole R rated side for all their properties. They want to have some movies, they want to have some series. They're bringing back all the Netflix series. They're bringing back like the Punisher and Daredevil and Jessica Jones and all that stuff. So they're gonna have that on there, and then the little graphic that I just threw up from his channel here that you can kind of see here where they're talking about like Deadpool and then the Midnight Suns, Blade, and like some of that stuff, and so like it's kind of interesting because Disney Plus actually they've been adding a lot of things to their parental controls lately. So that kind of makes me wonder, are they going to have a need for that kind of stuff? So they're going to have some kind of like more mature content,
I think for right now, they just added that because they're porting over the Daredevil and the Punisher shows and all that from Netflix, just because, obviously they own that stuff. So I think they just had to wait for the contracts to expire on that one from Netflix. And they're just adding that because, Jessica Jones has like sex scenes, and Daredevil and Punisher have some pretty violent, like bloody stuff in it. So it's more of like, if you had to put a rating on it, it would probably be either R or a hard PG-13 for most of that stuff, As far as them making R-rated comic book movies, I'm still not convinced yet. I'm not totally convinced, but if they did it, it would need to be it might need to be under a new wing, like you're talking. Like it would need to be under a different label
Yeah.
or something. So because it
Or
might
maybe
be
I could Google
how
it. I don't know.
for those who didn't know, actually Disney owned. If you remember watching movies back in the day, there was Touchstone Pictures, right? With
Oh
that
yeah.
logo, and
Uh-huh.
Touchstone was a Disney property, but it was is a part of Disney, but it was just a different sub studio of Disney. So
Yeah.
they put out R-rated movies. They would just kind of cover it by saying it was from, Touchstone Pictures, or I think later
Oh
even I think even Miramax had something to do with Disney at some point.
yeah.
With some of the Kevin Smith and Tarantino things like that. But yeah, like it would either have to be something like that, or like I said, I'm not totally convinced they won't just PG-13 Blade and Deadpool.
Yeah. I
Because
don't
if
know.
they want to,
Hopefully not Deadpool at least.
if they wanted to be part of the MCU, I just don't see them doing R-rated stuff that's connected to the MCU, because they're so dedicated to, keeping things friendly enough for kids. I mean, they've pushed stuff here and there, but like, they've never gone beyond that PG-13 thing, which is why
Yeah.
I was kind of sad overall that Fox went out of business, because I'm just not quite convinced we would ever get anything quite like a Logan or a
Yeah.
Deadpool under Disney. The way they just went full R-rated with it, and they went, with the heavy stuff, the violence and the swearing, all that. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, Jordan. I'm just saying I'm not yet convinced. Until I
Yeah.
hear something definitive, I'm still skeptical. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I kind of think that there's a lot of filmmakers out there that like they want to do it. They want to kind of bring things
Hmm.
to like more like a darker tone, kind of R-rated. But I don't think Disney is really and then necessarily maybe wanting to do it, because like if you remember the Doctor Strange movie was going to be directed by Scott Derrickson. Is going to be like a straight up horror movie,
Hmm.
and they said no, and
Yeah,
they wanted to lighten the
Scott's
tone,
talked about that. They were like, yeah, bro. So we've got this thing called the MCU, where like we kind of have to
yeah,
cater to children, and if you go make
they're
it a
killing it.
hardcore, even like a PG-13, but like a hardcore horror movie, they're like, yeah, you need to crank that back. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you guys said I was going to be in a horror movie, and now you're saying I can't, so bye. And he
Yeah,
left.
right.
And he
Yeah,
left, and now he went to go make another horror movie, and he made that movie that I've seen the trailer 8,000 times for,
yeah,
because now they delayed it to July or whatever, that Black Phone movie with like Ethan
yeah.
Hawke. Like I've
Black
seen
Phone,
it
yeah,
that trailer like 1,000 times. I have to see it 1,000 more times because they delayed it, which I hate. They should have put that
yeah,
movie
right.
out already. I don't know why they're
Yeah,
putting
they
it out in the
should have.
summer. That seems kind of stupid. Like just a
Yeah, it
small horror
does.
movie. Like put that out in February or March where it would make some money. But
Yeah,
yeah, like the Scott Derrickson pieced out. He was like, all right, if I can't do what you guys said I was going to be able to do, then I'm leaving. So cool, y'all go make it somewhere else. So I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm skeptical, Jordan, is because like
yeah,
they did that to him over some PG-13 horror movie.
yeah,
Doing worse stuff in Doctor Strange. That I'm not convinced they're gonna go full R with Deadpool or Blade, or at least I don't know about those other projects, but like at least Deadpool and Blade, I'm not convinced yet. I don't know. I think we're gonna be seeing PG-13 Blade, to be honest. But at the
yeah.
same point,
No, no.
at the same point, the Batman is PG-13. And the
Yeah,
Batman is pretty dark and it's pretty
yeah. It
violent for
is.
what it is. We just
It
don't
is pretty dark.
see a hardcore amount of blood or boobies or F words. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So, and
Yeah,
they still were able to push the PG-13. Again, I think you can push it these days and do a pretty good amount of stuff. I'm just not fully convinced it's going to say like Disney at the top of the movie. Like they would have to do a subdivision or something. We'll
yeah,
see. I don't know. That Blade thing seems like it's not really going anywhere lately. I know there was like a Blade sort of thing at the end of Eternals, but yeah, like I'm waiting to see a little more definitively about how that's going to turn out. But yeah, but
yeah,
Deadpool's kind
yeah.
of here still
We'll
is what
see.
it seems like.
Well, supposedly Ryan Reynolds put something out on his social media saying that they they promises he's going to have an update for Deadpool 3 soon. I don't know when or what
Hmm.
that's going to mean, but he put that out there. So I did see that.
Yeah,
So who knows? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Like I'd almost like to see more Deadpool instead of a movie. Do like a TV series like Peacemaker. Like personally, do like
Yeah,
a
same.
series. Like I think that would be more fun to him, just having him
I
do
love
like different
Peacemaker. Yeah.
do I mean just something like that where he could be Deadpool, on on a cable series like that and do everything that Deadpool does, but like have just little mini adventures, week to week, either going after people or doing something, whatever, interacting with low level other
Yeah.
superheroes or villains or whatever. But that's just, I don't think that'll ever happen, but that's just what
You
that
never
would be
know
a
because
cooler prospect to me personally, something like that.
yeah, because like something that I always thought about is like the Midnight Sun. So like that's basically a group put together uh, uh by Doctor Strange. So like I think that we kind of need this to kind of maybe get it like slightly set up just a little bit, maybe kind of move in that general direction. And then he puts together the group that consists of a lot of these like Netflix the Netflix characters. So you have like the Punisher, you have Ghost Rider, you have Daredevil, you have like Luke Cage. Some of those guys are all part of the Midnight Suns, and it'd be kind of cool to just maybe throw in Deadpool to that too. Just kind of have him running around with those guys. I thought that that could be kind of a cool way to do it. And then maybe even like some point you have that team maybe go up against the Avengers because the Avengers have to stop these Midnight Suns from doing all this crazy stuff. Maybe like have them go after each other, but. Like who knows? Though there's a million different ways they could go, but just kind of interesting that they're kind of talking a little more about the Midnight Sun. So I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything's
There's a lot of
possible.
stuff that's kind of up in the air right now as far as like that's what I'm waiting for though. Is I'm waiting for some kind of direction for a lot of these movies, which is why I haven't been as crazy about some of these latest phase of the Marvel movies. Your Black Widows and Eternals and Shang-Chi and stuff. It's like I've been kind of lukewarm on them for most part, just because I can't tell where it's going. Like it doesn't seem like they have any kind of direction. Like it doesn't seem like they have an end goal or an end game, if you will, to make a pun. But because the other ones you could always tell they were moving in a certain direction, and everyone was kind of a piece of the puzzle. And I think they're just kind of throwing stuff up against the wall right now to see what sticks. And hopefully they can kind of pull it together a little bit. I know they're doing all this multiverse stuff, but again, where does that lead to? I don't know. I guess it's just a way for them to possibly bring in. I've heard things about, they can use the multiverse to bring in the X-Men. Obviously, that would make sense because they've never introduced the concept of mutants before. And you can't really say, Jordan, that like, oh, we had all this stuff with Thanos and all these world-ending things, and none of these X people showed up to like fight any of these guys or defend Earth. You never had like Magneto or Professor X or Storm like running around trying to stop any of these minions or anything. Like they haven't just been around. It'd be weird to say, oh, we were just around, we just weren't doing anything. Like that'd be kind of strange. But you have to introduce it somehow.
Well, hopefully they're gonna have it connect, because I know that they had WandaVision kind of connect to Doctor Strange a little bit. So you're gonna have have the Scarlet Witch in there, and then for a little bit in the trailer you can hear Patrick Stewart's voice in there. So like he's gonna be a part of the Illuminati. And so so it's like some, like I don't know a whole lot about the Illuminati, but I know that Professor Xavier is a big part of it, and it's a group of all these guys that kind of keep order to the universe. Because when Doctor Strange is like messing with all these different like multiverses and stuff, that they try to keep order to it. And then you also kind of see a scene where they have a good Doctor Strange and kind of like an evil one, and then you have the evil one like being kidnapped by like some guys that kind of look like they're like some kind of Ultron bots or something. Like they're almost kind of similar looking to that, and he's like marching with them. So there's kind of interesting stuff in the trailer that like we'll see. Like they're doing pretty good with the characters that we know. So like they're like advancing those and connecting them pretty well. Just some of these new characters that I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do with Eternals to connect it, or Shang-Chi or any of this stuff. So I don't know.
I think some of those really depended on the box office and the outcome of what happened, because I don't know if we're going to see a lot of the Eternals, because that movie was not exactly the most well-received movie out of the MCU. So it was one of those things where they did the same thing with when the Guardians originally came out, when back in 2014, is stuff came out later where it was like, okay, if the Guardians does really well, then we'll obviously we'll make a sequel and we'll start throwing them some other stuff. But like, if it doesn't do so well, or it's not received so well, it's one of those things where you can say, oh, it was just this kind of side thing, and we really wouldn't need to see them again. It's just kind of off in space doing their thing, and we can kind of leave them out there. It's one of those take it or leave it things. The Eternals, I feel like, could be one of those situations where I don't know if we'll ever actually. I don't think they're going to do a sequel at this point because that movie was not very well received. But you might see a few of them pop up here and there in other movies or shows. I thought the Eternals should have been a TV show in the first place. Like there's way too much story there and way too many characters there to cram into that movie, and that movie was boring enough as it was. And it's like you needed that a show to like really. I think they could have easily done a show where each episode introduced one of those team members, you know, and really dove into their stories about like them, what they've been doing, you know, throughout history. They should have done that,
and then a lot about the characters,
and then build up to like the last 2 or 3 episodes. They come together and do some stuff, but it's just too much stuff there, and trying to cram it all in. It was kind of sloppy to me personally, but I know some people like it, but a lot of people don't too. I know it's kind of one of the lesser received ones. And Shang-Chi to me was Shang-Chi I was kind of lukewarm on too, to be honest. Like I thought the first half was way better than the second half, and it was one of those things where if people like it, you know, they'll bring them back for some other stuff. There's obviously some things they can do, but I don't know. This whole phase has been kind of uninteresting, other than Spider-Man. But Spider-Man. I mean, that's always going to be a big thing. We'll see what happens with this Doctor Strange thing. But yeah.
Well, I know that in Shang-Chi they had Wong in there a little bit too, so that might connect to Doctor Strange. Maybe I don't know if he was just like showing up there to like hey, cool, like there's a cool cameo, or if it was like they're actually connected. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll find out when we see Doctor Strange, I guess. So
yeah, well, and I hope people don't get their, you know, people have these expectations for like that Spider-Man movie as far as like, oh, they're going to show this person and this person. It's like temper your expectations, okay? Because if you think they're going to show like every character in the history of ever and show every X-Men and every, you know, whatever, all these other characters, like reel it on back. Because if you don't, then people have this idea of the movie that's in their head, and then when they don't get it, they get all upset. But it's like, you know, who knows what they'll do with this stuff. I mean, I'm sure Doctor Strange, that multiverse will have, you know, appearances from some characters we haven't seen before. I'm pretty convinced of that at this point. You know, I'm pretty convinced we might see an X-Men or two. And, you know, there's rumors about Deadpool showing up in that movie. Like there's kind of some rumors here and there about that, you know, and other things. Like I'm sure we'll see some things, whether or not they will be significant characters or not, I don't know. But it would certainly be a good way to do it. But yeah, so we'll just have to all I say is just let the movie happen. Whatever happens, happens, and then whatever you do see, then you can play around with that. But yeah, like we'll see what happens. But
yeah, don't set your expectation too high. Yeah,
too high.
Yeah. Well, we can kind of get into some of the stuff you've been watching lately. Well, I know that that we've had to watch a lot of stuff, like mostly for a lot of these YouTube shows we've been doing. Lately, we don't really get as much time to just watch stuff for our own personal enjoyment, you know. But I mean, it just kind of is what it is. So.
I've got 2 or 3 of those, but yeah, other than the 2 or 3 other ones I watched, and besides, I've seen the Batman twice, but this week. But but yeah, other than that, it's like everything I watch is either for, you know, for one of a tier ranker or a tournament, or like I said, I've been watching some of Jacob stuff for like that thing this week. You know, there's always kind of something to watch as far as that on that thing, and which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, because some of them it's either stuff I haven't seen outright, or it's like stuff I haven't rewatched in 10, 15 years, you know, that I go back to and I haven't seen in a minute. But yeah, as far as the new stuff, I mean, I guess I'll go back a little bit. I mean, I don't know if we really talked about Jackass. Like I did get to see Jackass Forever. I don't know. Did you get to see Jackass? Yeah. Like I mean, I'm a huge Jackass fan in general. Like pretty much that and all the properties. You know, your Wild Boys and your Viva La Bam and all the spinoff stuff. Like I love all that stuff, and I was definitely looking forward to it. And I thought it delivered. I mean, it's delivered exactly what you think it would deliver, but it's Jackass.
Right.
A lot of trauma to the genital area, and a lot of you know, fun pranks and people just getting hurt in general. But I mean, it's exactly what you think it is, and surprisingly, didn't it have like a 80% on Rotten Tomatoes or something? Like people love, you know, because
it's pretty high.
Which I had a little bit of a rant of on one show, because I was like, you know what, like all these people, all these critics, that are all of a sudden being like, this is exactly the movie we need right now because we're all kind of in down moods and we just needed a movie like this to release. I'm like, yeah, the other three movies are exactly the same, and y'all pissed all over those movies. So where were you back then when you gave it all? And those movies have like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, screw you too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that you like it now, but you crapped all over that and crapped on people who liked that movie too back then. So you know what? That like I kind of have a rant about that with these people who are all of a sudden, think like something's changed when it's literally like it's been the same thing the entire time. Like go watch Jackass. Jackass number 2. It's the same movie.
Yeah. Well, look, for me, I forgot like the sheer amount of dicks that they show in that movie. Like,
There's a lot. Yeah,
I totally forgot about how much they like do that in the Jackass movie. So I was expecting pranks, and I was like, oh yeah, they also show like tons of nudity and like dicks and stuff. And especially the like opening scene with the Godzilla thing that they're like holding up the one guy's dick or whatever. I'm just like it was hilarious though. Like I was dying laughing, but I was just like man, I totally forgot how much they actually show in this thing. Yeah, but it's pretty good stuff. It's pretty funny.
I like those movies a lot. I thought that one was funny. I did put on Netflix and watch just because, again, I'm a glutton for punishment because I did not expect good things out of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but boy, is that movie awful. That movie is so not bad. It's well, look, Jordan, you don't even like the original one, so much less you would like this one. Which, although I will say this. If you were to watch this one, I think you would have a whole nother appreciation for the genius of Tobe Hooper in that original one. If you watch something like this and you would go, wow, compared to the original one, like this one's really bad. like you would be like, wow, that original one's pretty good compared to this garbage. But yeah, it's got a weird premise. It's like,
is that what it was, or was it a sequel?
No, look. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre timeline is even more convoluted than the Halloween timeline, and that Halloween timeline is all screwed up, with all the different reboots they've done and like how they scrapped it. So should I give you the crash course version of the Texas Chainsaw timeline? So the Texas Chainsaw timeline starts with the Tobe Hooper original, right? The 1974 movie, okay? Then Tobe Hooper himself made a sequel, the Texas Chainsaw 2, which you've actually seen that sequel, so you've seen that movie. With Chop Top and all those guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so because that was more of a comedy a little bit. So then there's Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3, which is not made by Tobe Hooper, but it's still a sequel. And there's Texas Chainsaw Next Generation, one with Matthew McConaughey, that it's still a sequel, but not made by Tobe. Then from there, you had those 4, right? Then you had the 2003 remake, which started a new thing, right? So you had the one that Michael Bay produced, the Platinum Dunes one. The guys who made all those sequel or remakes around that time. Yeah, the remake. Then you had Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning, which was a prequel to the remake. Okay, you still following me? Okay,
prequel to the remake. Okay,
it was a prequel to the remake because it has R. Lee Ermey from that one, and he's in the other one in the prequel. Okay. Then it kind of took a break for a while because that one was not terribly well received, and we had Texas Chainsaw 3D. Texas Chainsaw 3D was a sequel to the original 1974 film that scrapped everything in between. Okay, really? Still following me? Okay, so that one was a sequel. Then you had Leatherface, which was a prequel to the original 1974 movie that was still in line with Texas Chainsaw 3D. You still following me? So now with this new film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's once again another sequel to the original 1974 movie that scraps everything in between.
Oh, really?
All right, so it's exactly like that Charlie Day meme where he's got the stuff behind him and he's freaking out trying to connect all the dots. Yeah. Yes. So it's much like the Halloween timeline is all screwed up in that way. So it's a sequel to the original film that scraps everything else. Only the Halloween 2018 did it way better, and this movie sucks. And this movie blows. I will say the one positive thing, which is a thing I've been talking about lately, it's a cool 80 minutes. Boy, did that movie go by quick, and it's a short movie. So I at least did not spend my whole life on it. It was I turned it on at like 3:00 in the afternoon. At like 4:20, I was done. It was over. We had rolled credits. So you know what? At least props to them for not overstaying their welcome. I'll say that. But it's not a very good movie.
Well, because sometimes even bad movies, even if they're short, they feel kind of long. You're like, when is this thing going to end or whatever? But But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it goes by. I wouldn't say like I was ever bored, but I was
Yeah.
just baffled at how bad it is. Like it's just
Oh,
very
yeah.
bad, and it kind of like it tries to riff on like the thing we were talking about earlier. Like it basically centers all on these like kind of liberal hipster social media people that are trying to buy out this little small town in Texas and then like turn it into like a hipster haven. And then, and I don't know if you even saw the trailer. There's like a whole sequence where they're on this bus and Leatherface gets on the bus and starts massacring all of them with the chainsaw. And right before he does, they all pull their phones out to record him, and literally there's one guy who says a line that "we'll cancel you, bro, if you try to try anything." And it's like,
Really?
it's like we'll cancel you.
Really?
And it's like, like okay,
You want to keep up with the
like
times, I guess.
like it's trying to make a statement on that, but it's just done very poorly. And yeah, it's just not good.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very cringy. Although it does have a few moments when he's slaughtering everyone by the bus. There's some good effects and there's some good stuff in it, but some horror stuff. But yeah, it's not a very good movie. So yeah, if you didn't even like the original one, the good one with Toby that Toby Hooper made in the 70s, you would really hate this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Not my thing, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And probably way too gory.
It's very gory.
I don't like over the top. I mean, I don't mind some, but like I just stick with my one bucket of blood that I always say. But any more than that, I'm like,
yeah, no Saw and Hostile movies for you, really. No Saw retrospective anytime soon. Yeah.
No, I've seen the first two Saw movies, and that's kind of where I stopped. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I've seen a couple of them, so.
Don't worry. When you come visit me in September, we'll marathon all the Saw movies in one day. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just in case they have a Saw themed horror thing down at Halloween Horror Nights, we'll have to see them, right?
Yeah. We'll see what they do. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's mostly been stuff for things that, like I said, I saw the Batman twice. So, I mean, we can either go into that now. We may go into that in another episode. We'll see, because that's a whole episode in itself.
Yeah.
I won't go too much, but I did enjoy it. I very much like the Batman. I've seen it several times, so very good. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I mean, other than that, one of Jacob's movie I was watching was Finding Neverland. It was very similar to Saving Mr. Banks, so I like that a lot. Yeah. And I actually genuinely like Nightmare Alley, the Del Toro movie. Like, I'm not much on Del Toro, but I kind of dug it. Like, I thought it was pretty good.
You liked it?
Yeah, I actually liked it. So, yeah, especially the first half of the stuff is all just him, Bradley Cooper, like kind of getting into this like carnival thing, with like Willem Dafoe as like this, the carnival guy who runs it and stuff. And like, it's pretty fun because it kind of shows the inner workings of these goofy, weird carnivals and like the scams they pull on people and like how they do their little sideshow tricks and there's some disturbing stuff with like one of those geeks, like the geeks as far as the guy that like bites the heads off of chickens and stuff. Like they kind of go into how they make people do that. Like it's very weird and disturbing. But yeah, I like Nightmare Alley. It's a very long movie. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's really long, but I was into it for the most part. So yeah, I don't know if you
I kind of avoided it.
You might not dig it.
Well, I just did. I'm not a big Guillermo del Toro fan, but I mean, like I'd still see it. Like if I get it. Like hear enough good like word of mouth about it, and like let's check it out. So yeah,
I mean it's on HBO Max. I would definitely recommend the first hour, hour, like where he's in this like carnival, like this like carnival sideshow thing. Like all that stuff's pretty fun, and then it kind of breaks off into another movie where he goes off with Rooney Mara, and they take like this mentalist act on the road, and like start doing these like mentalism things or whatever, and start pulling like kind of scams on people with this like mentalism, stuff or whatever. And then like Kate Blanchett comes into the movie and does some things, but some people say it's not as interesting. I was still into it overall, but like, but at least the first hour of the stuff with all the stuff at the, the carnival is all fun. Like I liked all that stuff.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. Because like, I'll watch anything that has Bradley Cooper in it. Like I'm a big Bradley Cooper fan.
He's really good. Yeah. Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, even Kate Blanchett, like to an extent. Like I really like her too. So yeah,
Yeah, and Willem Dafoe is like, I'm still
Oh
convinced
yeah,
Willem Dafoe is
Willem
like
Dafoe
an
too.
actor from like the 40s that's like stuck in today. Like he's such a
Yeah.
like kooky weird dude though. Like he's perfect as like this, there's stuff where he's doing the carnival barker thing, to come see the geek show. He's like, get in here and see the freak, the geek that eats the heads off of chickens, and all this stuff, they doing his like carnival barker, and he fits right in. Like he's almost like right out of like the 30s or something. Like it's ridiculous, like that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a good year between that and Spider-Man. Like he's kind of, and he's been doing kinds of kooky weird, even stuff like The Lighthouse, which is he's fun in it. You know what I mean? He's whacked out and crazy, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can
The
tell
Lighthouse
he's
is
having a
he's
good
crazy.
time with stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. You got anything else that you've been watching lately? Or is that about it?
I rewatched Event Horizon with my roommate, and that was fun
Okay.
because I had my Scream Factory Blu-ray that I rewatched to that. We watched some kung fu stuff, so we were watching like he's into like people beating the shit out of people. So I showed him The Raid, which he had never seen. The Raid, and The
Oh,
Raid is
nice.
always a lot of fun. And I showed him a movie called The Protector, which I'm a fan of, with Tony Jaa, the guy from Ong Bak the Thai Warrior.
Oh yeah.
It's just, and The Protector, the story is horrendous. Like the story is all the acting scenes are terrible. Like they're awful.
Yeah.
They're poorly edited. It like makes no sense, like from scene to scene. But like you just go to fights, like, but every 10 minutes there's a fight. So like that's all you're there,
Yeah.
for.
Funny.
The fights are awesome. Like The Protector is one of those movies that has one of these fight sequences where it's a 4 minute no cut straight through fight where he's going up these stairs and like fighting all these dudes, and it's like a complete one take thing, and it's pretty awesome.
Oh,
Like
nice.
it's pretty great. And there's stuff where he fights one guy in this temple who looks like, did you ever play the Tekken games at all?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
So the character, the Eddie Gordo character that does like the
Yeah.
almost like the capoeira breakdancing kind of stuff with the dreads, like the
Uh-huh.
black guy. So there's a guy
Yeah.
named Lateef Crowder who's in The Protector. And people, when they saw this movie, he does, like, he's this black dude with his dreads, and he does the capoeira like Eddie Gordo stuff, like
Oh
literally
yeah.
exactly. And like
Oh,
I
nice.
mean, you'd swear it was Eddie, like coming in real life. And it was
Yeah.
funny, like he does this fight scene, and it's awesome. And then people, when they saw that
That's
movie,
cool.
were like, "Oh my god, that's Eddie Gordo!" Like in real life.
Yeah.
When they did a
Yeah.
Tekken movie, like 5 years later. That was not very
Yeah.
successful, very good. But like he got casted as Eddie because, duh, like he
Yeah.
looks exactly like Andy does the same fighting style. So he was a
Oh, he
shoe in
did.
for that.
Nice.
And he legitimately did it. So if you ever see that Tekken movie, that's the same guy, and he's great. And then there's other stuff where he fights the guy Nathan Jones, who was a wrestler, and he was in Mad Max Fury Road, and he was in Troy in that opening scene, and he's like this big 7-foot dude. So there's stuff where he fights, these 7-foot guys, and it's a lot of fun because he's trying to kick him, and like he can't do any damage to him, because this dude's just
Yeah.
so massive. But it was a lot of some really fun fight scenes. Sometimes those movies, like the stories are terrible, or the scene to scene stuff, but like you always just go there for the fights, and the fights are great. So I like all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it's always fun to go back to
Nice.
those movies. But yeah, like I
Check it out for
said,
sure, yeah.
anything else that's just been, like I said, I was watching Singing in the Rain today for Jacob's thing, which I hadn't seen in forever. It was on HBO Max, and I was
That's
having a
good
good time
stuff.
with it for a musical.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones.
But some good
But yeah,
dancing and stuff in it. That's
well, yeah, no,
what it's
I can appreciate a good tap dance. There's a lot of tap dancing in that movie, which I appreciate. Like tap dancing stuff, man. Those guys, what they do with that sort of thing is great. And his partner in the movie, Gene Kelly, the Donald O'Connor guy, the guy that's like his musical partner in that movie, is like really great. Like he almost steals the whole movie. Like he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's the guy, the make him laugh sequence. Like he's
Oh
great.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he's a lot of fun. So I was having a good time with it. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for someone who's not really into a lot of older classic movies, I actually really like Singing in the Rain. So yeah.
I was gonna say that could have been one that watched as a kid, 'cause it's like a G-rated, old school
Yeah.
movie. It's just like a musical. Musicals as a kid,
Probably
you
was.
become up in
Yeah.
a conservative house are pretty safe. The Sound of Music and that.
Yeah.
They're pretty safe to put on for the family. You're not gonna see anything crazy. Like my sister used to watch all those Shirley Temple movies back in the day too. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those like Shirley Temple movies.
Yeah,
back
we
in
had
the
all
day,
those
but
on in our house. We had
VHS.
like Anna Green Gables or like My Fair Lady, all that kind of like just
Oh
kinda,
yeah.
like low-key G-rated kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah. Why not?
so let's
It's all family friendly musical stuff. Yeah, all those things from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, some of it's a little cheesy, but I mean that's just kind of what I grew up on. So because it was clean, clean and
Yeah,
family
it's clean.
friendly,
It's clean and
Yeah,
family friendly, and I know you talked about how everything had to be kind of clean and family friendly. So yeah, it is what it is. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Like my family wasn't as strict as like some of my dad's siblings. My dad had some siblings that are like, ooh, like they're like way out there. They're like the only thing that my kids are allowed to watch is Little House on the Prairie and like the Waltons, and then like nothing else. And it's like whoa, my
That's
dad's
why
a little strict.
when we talked about those shows on that, what was it, that tier ranker fights, you like, yeah, I've seen every episode of the Waltons or Little House on the Prairie. Like you guys were like, yeah, we've seen all of that stuff, and I don't think I've ever seen a single episode of Little House on the Prairie or the Waltons. But I mean, I'm aware of them, but like, I was always wondering like who actually watches those shows, and I guess people,
Yeah.
people, those people, and people who are like that watch the Waltons.
Yep. 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 But yeah, let's get into a couple of things that I've been
Yeah, go
watching
ahead.
lately. One of the ones that actually blew me away that was actually one of the last things recommended to me by Henry Sanchez was the movie Blind Spotting. But I watched that,
Yeah,
and
it's a
that
good movie.
movie blew me
Yeah.
away. So that movie like is now in my top 20 movies of all time. Like it was
Mm.
that good. And, like it was so good because they like show the friendship really really well, but then they also have some political stuff, but they don't beat you over the head with it. They actually
Yeah.
like do it in like kind of more of like a subtle way. It's not the entire plot of the movie, but they kind of have some like really powerful moments that do involve those things, but it's not like just too much or just constant, you know.
Mhm.
But it's like really really solid. So like I'm always watching for. Forget the main black guy from the movie, the actor's name, but he's in that. He's in the new uh he's in the Snowpiercer series is what he's in. So like he's
Oh,
like one of the
okay.
main guys
So it's working. Nice.
from the Snowpiercer series, and that series is really really good. It just released, I think, season, I want to say 3. It's either 2 or
I
3.
think
But I
they
saw
I
the
think they already have 2 seasons in the can. I think they're working on season 3, something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
surprisingly.
So I saw the first one because I really liked the movie. So
Hmm.
I watched the first season. It was really good. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then I also watch all the Peacemaker, and like that was really really good. I actually liked it probably way more than a lot of people did. Like that's one of the best series I've seen in like years. That series really blew me away. As far as TV properties go, I think it's the best thing DC's ever put out. Like it's like really really solid. So yeah,
Hmm. I can't
had a
think of a
good
lot
time
of.
with it.
Well, I don't watch any of the. I don't know if I could have a comparison because I don't watch any of the Arrowverse stuff. You know, the Arrow and
Yeah,
Flash and
yeah,
Supergirl and all that. I don't watch like I haven't gotten into any of that stuff, so I couldn't really compare. But I know some people are into it, and those other things like Doom Patrol and Titans and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't really dug into any of those either. I just haven't had time to. It's too many damn
yeah,
shows, Jordan. I can't
yeah.
watch all this
Right.
stuff. It's not enough hours in the day. Like the only TV shows I follow is like some of the Star Wars stuff and then like Cobra Kai. Like I love Cobra Kai, so I watched that like the first week it came out. Things like that. But yeah, some of these shows like it's just too much going on. Like even Peacemaker, I'm only halfway through, so I haven't been able to see the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I did watch Boba Fett and caught up on that. But
Nice. Yeah.
usually what I'll do lately is all these shows that come out, all these come all these shows that come out like one at a time, every week is I'll just wait till like they get till near the end of the season, before like the last 2 or 3 episodes, and then I'll just catch up on it, and then just watch the finale or the second to the finale like right before with everybody else. So I'll just wait.
Oh yeah,
Same with
yeah.
the Marvel stuff. Like some of the stuff I just waited till like it got near
well,
the end, and then I just caught back up.
well, for the Peacemaker series, I liked it better than the Suicide Squad. Like I thought that it was like really, really good. Like they did a great job because like in the Suicide Squad, spoiler alert, but they kill off like half the characters in the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie. So it's like,
Hmm.
but in this one they don't really do that. So it kind of gives the characters some time for you to get to know them and like see them like in action and all that stuff. So yeah,
Hmm.
but as far as like all that like DC stuff, like I seen most of Arrow until it started getting really repetitive all the time. So I kind of like
Hmm.
fell off there, and then I saw Titans, but it's mostly because when like DC was like doing their own thing, like they had their own app and everything.
Hmm.
I started watching Titans, but I mostly wanted to watch Doom Patrol. But I was like, well, Titans came out first, so I'll watch that. But then I never finished all of Titans. I saw most of it, but I never got around to Doom Patrol. So that's another one
Hmm.
that's kind of on my my radar. But as far as any of the other ones, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to them, if I really care that much, because I fell off of Arrow. So anything that's connected to that, I'm kind of like, like I don't know how excited I am to
Yeah,
jump into
well,
those.
yeah, and some of those shows, like because they're CW shows, get a little too soap opera-y for me. You know, a little too much
Yeah,
soap opera shit, and like I want just more like comic book stuff rather than like soap opera. It's
yeah,
like when I heard they were gonna do and I've heard the show is okay, but I can't speak directly. But that like they got like a Superman and Lois Lane show right now, you know, and I
oh
was
yeah,
like, I watched Lois and Clark back in the day. You know, I don't know
yeah,
if you ever
same.
saw any of Lois and Clark back in the day, but
Oh,
like Lois and
oh yeah,
Clark
I saw
was
all that.
technically it had Superman, but it was more like a network, like almost like a soap opera show, you know, that just
Yeah,
featured like a little bit of Superman near the end of the episode or whatever. You know, he would
yeah,
turn in and you know fight somebody or whatever. But yeah, it was more just like a generic kind of soap opera show. So I don't know if that one's that. I know they've dug into some stuff, but yeah, the CW shows I've just never really gotten a chance to get into them. I've seen clips here and there. You know, you'd be scrolling through Facebook or you know the Facebook videos or something and see like a scene or whatever here and there. But I was glad they at least let Kevin Conroy be a live action Batman. That was cool, at least for that multiverse thing or whatever that they
oh
did,
yeah,
one of the crossovers.
yeah,
They let Kevin Conroy
yeah.
be like an old Batman, you know, and let him be like at least a live action one for a scene. You know, that was at least cool because he'd been doing the animated Batman. He still does. I mean, he's been doing it for like 30 years, but that was cool. They at least gave him a chance to do it in live action for once. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they even brought back for like brought back some of the Smallville characters. They brought back some of those. They
Mm-hmm.
brought back a bunch of like those characters. That's cool. They gave them on their little moment, like for the fans or whatever, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Well, should we advocate for the Doctor Strange movie to bring in Nick Cage as Ghost Rider again
Yeah,
to show
yeah,
up?
right. We're gonna have all the
Johnny
different
Blaze.
multiverses. So yeah, sure.
Hey,
Like why
as
not?
weird and crazy as Nick Cage has gotten lately, I'd actually be kind of for it. Like
Yeah,
bring back Johnny Blaze, Nick Cage. He could be a whole new kind of crazy Ghost Rider at this point, you know, with all the goofy stuff he does
yeah.
nowadays. So I'd actually be
That's
all
actually
for
cool.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But as far as there's anything else that I watched recently, I went and saw West Side Story recently.
Mhm.
And actually, I was really blown away by it. Like I thought that it was really, really solid. And like I'm not big into musicals, but like West Side Story almost has like some action scenes and some like fight scenes between the two like rival gangs, the
Mm.
the Jets and the
Sharks
Sharks.
and the Jocks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they do it really well, and and like some of the like acting, like I forget uh the guy who's the kind of the leader of the Sharks. He has a girlfriend in it, and like
Mm.
she was one of my favorite characters. She was really really solid. I think that actress, I'll have to look up what her name is, but but she kind of seems like one of those ones we're going to see in like a lot of things going forward because she got
Mm.
her time to shine in like a big Steven Spielberg musical movie that might be Oscar
Hmm.
nominated. Well, there's Oscar nominated. It might win an Oscar possibly. So you never
Yeah.
know. Yeah. So yeah. So that was one that actually really surprised me. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I went to go see it on a date. So the girl just kind of picked it. So I'm like, I was like,
Mm.
well, it's Steven Spielberg, sure. Like, why not? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but as far as anything else, when I watched No Country for Old Men for the first time, I'd never seen that. Like, I just saw it like maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I watched it for one of our shows we did, and like that really blew me away too. Everything except the ending. I thought the ending was a little wonky because it
Hmm.
just kind of doesn't really
Ends
end.
because
Look
it's
very
just like
solid.
Tommy Lee Jones sitting in a diner doing a monologue and then it just ends. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, so we're not going to wrap it up, and then before that, you see Anton Chigurh just kind of walk off somewhere, and I'm just like, what? Like,
He
what's
gets
going
away,
on?
bro. The villain gets
Yeah,
away.
yeah, it gets
The
away. So
villain
I'm just like,
wins.
all right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, but like
But
everything up until that,
don't tell Chris Scott you liked it
yeah,
because
yeah.
it'll get into a big
Sorry,
fight.
Chris.
Watch it.
Actually, I shouldn't apologize if I like something, but
No, no,
still.
don't apologize. But like so hey, we like it, Chris. Sorry you don't. I think it's a good
Yeah, yeah.
movie.
But then, really, the only other series I wanted to give a shout out to, I started watching that Amazon series. It's called As We See It. So it's like about a bunch of autistic
Mm.
guys that like live uh in an apartment together, and it's like really really solid. Like it's like super good. It's actually I think the number one show on Amazon Prime right now, and like I kind of relate to it because I kind of have a few autistic tendencies myself that I've kind of talked about before. Like I kind of just find these little niches that I get like really obsessed with, or like when I interact with different people, either I'll be vibing with you really super well and we'll become best friends quick, or like we don't vibe and it just doesn't work out kind of thing. So like it's just one of those things. But like they have the people that are like on all different levels. So they have this guy, his name Rick Glassman. He actually has a comedy podcast that I watch all the time. He's a stand-up comedian that was diagnosed with autism in real life, but he's pretty high functioning though. To be a stand-up comedian and like be on the road and have his own podcast. He does that also. And so like he kind of obviously plays the more higher functioning autistic one. Then you have one that's like a mid-level of functioning. That's a female, so you kind of get the female perspective. And then you have one that's like really severely autistic, so you can kind of see all different levels. So it's kind of interesting to see. And then they have some people that are just normal that don't have anything going on, and you get their story too, and how they all interact together. It's really really solid though. Like it's kind of a lot along the lines of and for some reason I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's the one that had like Milo Ventimiglia and like Mandy Moore, that one that was on NBC. You know, I always forget the name of that.
I couldn't tell you the name of that show if you put a gun to my head, but I know what you're talking about.
But it's like kind of like a drama but like this one has a little more humor than the other one, because like the autistic guys just kind of say whatever's like in their head. They don't really know how to always interact socially, so they say all these kind of crazy things sometimes. So yeah.
Is it called This Is Us?
Oh yeah, This Is Us. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. I just looked it up real quick. And I was like, well, I figured it was that because it's the only show he's been on that has like 90 episodes or something recently. So I figured it was that. But
yeah. But
okay.
I mean, we're gonna see if there's anything that I watched today.
But speaking of Amazon, my dad watched it, and I'm kind of interested now. He binged through that Jack Reacher show that I've been hearing good things about.
Oh yeah,
because people were happy that he's a big Jack Reacher fan as far as the books go. He's a big fan, and he's like a lot of the other fans that doesn't really like those Tom Cruise movies, because Tom Cruise is completely like not like what Jack Reacher is in the books, because like Jack Reacher in the books is legit. Like the guy they got now is a lot more like it, where he's like 6'4", 6'5", he's like 280 pounds, like a shredded, jacked up dude, who's like intimidating, and all this stuff. And they cast like they cast Tom Cruise, who's like 5'7", and buck 90, soaking wet. You know what I mean? It's not the character. So the guy they got on the new show is like way more like that. Like he was on one of those CW superhero shows, but I forget who he played. But he's a big jacked up dude, and like apparently like the show's really good, and he's done a great job with it, and like he plays it exactly like the books. And what they're gonna do is kind of cool, Jordan. Is they're gonna like there's like 30 of these books, right? These Jack Reacher books, like each one's like a different thing where he's chasing a killer or doing some mission or whatever. And like each season of the show is just each season of the show is just going to be like one of those books. Like they're just going to turn it into like a season of the show. So like, they're just going to adapt like some whatever storyline from one book, for like a whole season, so they can properly like do it within, do like 8 hours of that thing. You know what I mean? Instead of just like a movie, like they're just going to do like a, one season per book or whatever. So who knows how long it can go? I mean, it won't go on forever, but they'll probably they'll at least pick like the best ones, and adapt them. So that's pretty cool, because I've heard good things about it. I want to see it now.
The first couple, like it was John Krasinski, wasn't it? He was Jack Reacher. Or am I thinking
that's Jack Ryan. That's Jack Ryan.
Okay.
Not Jack Reacher. Yeah, Jack Ryan. Yeah, they did the Jack Ryan thing. That was the Harrison Ford, Alec Baldwin thing. No, they did a TV show of Jack Ryan, which you could do the same thing with a TV show, because there's like a million Jack Ryan books and stories too that dude wrote. So Tom Clancy wrote. So you could definitely do that as a TV show and just have him do his different book adventures as well. Which I think that's smarter to do, as a show than a movie. When you've got that many stories and that many books, like just have one story per season, and just properly adapt it, through the course of a season, through 8, 9, 10 hours, whatever, and do that. I think it's just a better idea than trying to cram it all into 2 hours.
Yeah. I'm here in the chat room trying to fight off the porn bots. They're freaking everywhere.
Oh boy, so, they're everywhere. They're always everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I mean, I guess at this point, we can do the game that you had. Like, we may as well just just do the one you had because that might be a little bit better one for like a back and forth with just 2 people. We knew mine when we maybe have a third person or something like that, but
that's fine. Either that or we could play this game for a minute, and then I've also got the Would You Rather cards. You want to dip into those before we leave too. That we never got to on these. So we'll play around with it. But the game that I play, that's a very simple back and forth game, and really it's a game you can do with however you can do it with 2 people, you can do it with 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. So we bounce back and forth, and how it works is it's just called the movie game, like it's from what I heard. At Douglas Movies, they used to do it on the mini episodes with him and Graham Elwood. So what you do is, so one of us either starts with just any movie or any actor or actress, and you just start with that. So I'll just give the example one. So let's say Jordan was to say Tom Cruise, right? And so I would say, I could say, Mission Impossible, and he could say Ving Rhames because Ving Rhames is also in Mission Impossible. And then if he said Ving Rhames, then I got to name another movie that Ving Rhames is in, but not Mission Impossible. So I always said, I would say Pulp Fiction, and then he's got to name somebody from Pulp Fiction that's not Ving Rhames. So he would say, Sam Jackson, and you just go back and forth. But the idea is you can't name the same actor, actress, or movie. You can't repeat, so you got to stay away from that. Now, sequels are fair game, so you can go with sequels. That's fine. But obviously your goal is to try to maybe stump the other person, but we don't go too obscure. Like I'm sure you can name a movie, and maybe I can name some like weird random character actor that you don't know who it is. So I'll try to keep it fairly mainstream. As far as like, the actors in the movies, like I don't want to name some random like horror sequel that you don't know. Like
I'm like anything. Who? What?
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So we'll try to keep it fairly mainstream, but you basically try to stump the other person. If they can't pick up something within about 10 seconds or so, then the other person gets a point. So that's kind of how it works. So but you can start with it. So maybe we'll take turns starting back and forth, but I'll let you start. You can name any actor, actress, or movie, like at all, just anything, and then we'll start and we'll break off of that.
Okay. Let's start with speaking of it, because the game kind of has that vibe. We'll go with Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Okay. All right. I'll go for animation. I'll say X-Men First Class. He's the villain in X-Men First Class.
Let's
give you some options there.
Then I'll go with Michael Fassbender. Sure.
All right. Well, Michael Fassbender is in Inglourious Bastards.
All right. Then we'll go with Brad Pitt. Okay.
Brad Pitt is in. Well, you watched it recently. He's in the Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yeah. Let's see. For that, we'll go with Cate Blanchett.
Okay, Cate Blanchett's in there. Well, Cate Blanchett's in Thor Ragnarok, a movie I don't like, but she's in it.
True. All right. For that one, we can go with Jeff Goldblum.
Okay. Well, Jeff Goldblum's in The Fly.
Yeah. Well, I'll go with Gina Davis then.
Well, I'm kind of playing into you so you can keep going, so I won't go too obscure. But it's a movie you watch that has other people in it. Earth Girls Are Easy. He's in it. That one's got some people in it.
Oh yeah. We'll go with Jim Carrey.
Okay. Well, Jim Carrey is in a Batman movie I watched recently again. Well, Batman Forever.
Yeah, Batman Forever. We'll go with Val Kilmer.
Okay. Val Kilmer's in Tombstone.
Oh, all right. Then we'll go Kurt Russell.
Okay. Kurt Russell's in Escape from New York. I'm going to start now. Now that we're getting into it, I'm going to try to stump you now.
Yeah.
With mainstream stuff. I
it might be actually because I've only seen it once before, and I don't remember.
Yeah.
Who's even in it? I mean, I could just throw a name out. They're probably not in it, but like Christian Slater. I'm just throwing a random name out.
No, that was it was the Escape from New York was 1981. That was before Christian Slater started acting.
Okay, yeah.
I will say one of my top 16 actors from Tournament Fights is in that movie.
Oh, yeah?
He's a Western actor, if you can remember.
Who's that one?
Lee Van Cleef.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Yeah. Well, also Donald Pleasance is in it. From the Halloween movies. He's like the mayor guy that he's got to go get out. what's his name? The guy who does the voice of Chef on South Park.
Oh yeah.
Um, I
He's in
can't
it?
forget. Yeah, he's in it. There's a couple of people in that movie, but I
Oh,
forgive
nice.
you for that. But that's okay. So we'll just give you we won't keep score, but I guess I stumped you on that one.
Yeah.
I'll give you some softballs for a little while, and then I'll try to Escape from New York is still a mainstream movie, so I wasn't going too obscure, but I
Yeah.
guess with
It was like the
other
only
people in that
person I
movie.
remembered in there, just Kurt Russell. I'm like, so I'm like,
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start this time, and we'll start with an easy one. We'll start with Harrison Ford. So just give me any Harrison Ford movie.
okay. We'll go with Air Force One.
Air Force One. Okay. Well, Gary Oldman's in Air Force One.
Yeah,
He's the bad
yeah.
guy. He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah, and Gary Oldman. We'll go with he's in The Dark Knight, right?
Yeah, he's Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah,
Of course.
okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll go with Cillian Murphy. He shows up as Scarecrow again in The Dark Knight. So,
okay. Then for Cillian Murphy, I'll go with Red Eye.
Red Eye. Okay. Well, I'll say the other lead actor. I'll do Rachel McAdams.
Yeah. Richard McAdams is gosh, was only one that I can think of this quick off the top of my head. I'll say The Vow. For some reason, that's the one that popped into my head.
The Vow.
Yeah.
Was she in The Vow? Was she?
Yeah. Yeah, she was the main actress
Okay.
from The Vow.
Is that the one with Channing Tatum?
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Okay, so I'll say Channing Tatum because that's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
thing I remember from that movie is Channing Tatum. I only remember the poster. It's
Yeah,
a really
yeah.
cheesy poster. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So you said Val. I'll say Channing Tatum. So there you go. You can roll from there.
Okay. I'll say 21 Jump Street.
Okay. Well, I'll just go easy with that one. I'll go Jonah Hill.
Okay. Jonah Hill. I'll make it easy. I'll say a 40-year-old virgin.
Okay. I'll go. I'll go with somebody who pops up just for a minute in that movie, but he's mainstream. I'll say Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart shows up in that movie for a minute.
Yeah. Kevin Hart. I'll say Jumanji.
Excuse me, it's Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle,
Oh, yeah.
Jumanji,
Yeah,
The Next
yeah.
Level.
True.
Full title, please. That's fine. Jumanji, Welcome. Okay, we'll do it. All right, well, I'll do one of your celebrity crushes. How about Karen Gillan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Then for Karen Gillan, I got to go Oculus.
All right. Oculus. I'll go with Shimoda person. Katie Sackhoff is in Oculus.
Yeah. Katie Sackhoff. The only movie I can think of off the top of my head is Pitch Black, so we'll go with that.
She's not in Pitch Black. I'll give you leeway on this one. She's in one of the sequels. Can you get it?
She's in the whatever the fourth one is, I think, right?
The third one.
Oh, the third one. Okay.
I'll help you out with this one since you got the general idea. It's Riddick. She's in Riddick.
Okay. She's in Riddick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. well, in Riddick, Dave Bautista is in Riddick. It's one of his earlier ones. Yeah.
Okay. Man, I can't think of any. Oh, I'll go.
Well, there's a pretty obvious one that Dave Bautista got famous for.
Yeah. I'm trying to kind of branch out.
Okay.
A little bit. I'll go with Spectre.
Okay, yeah, he's Inspector. Then I'll say Christoph Waltz because he's Blofeld Inspector.
Okay, Christoph Waltz. We'll go with Django Unchained.
Okay. Leo DiCaprio. So Django Unchained.
Yeah. Okay. Then we'll say Catch Me If You Can.
Okay. I'll go. You know who's in that movie? Amy Adams plays the little nerdy girl in Catch Me If You Can.
Okay. Amy Adams. All right. Go with Enchanted.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Enchanted, I'll say James Marsden.
Ooh, okay. So James Marsden, I'm going to say Sonic. I don't know if you can.
Sonic yeah.
There is an obvious one, I guess. I was going to say besides that.
Yeah. No, I'll go with Sonic. Well, I mean, there's the Jim Carrey one, but I was trying to go with somebody different.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember who the hell else was in Sonic. I can't remember the girl's name. I can't remember the other one. So we used Jim Carrey last round, so he's fair game for this one. So I'll say Jim Carrey because once
Okay.
once the
Yeah.
round starts over, it's fair game. You just can't use him in the same round.
The other one I was gonna say was maybe Ben Schwartz for the voice, but
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't remember
but
his name.
yeah. For Jim Carrey, we'll go with the Cable Guy.
Okay.
Mhm.
Trying to think of like if there was any side people that showed up in the Cable Guy.
There actually is one that I can think of.
Oh, I'll say Janine Garofalo. She's the waitress at the Medieval Times place.
Oh, okay. Well, then for her, I'll say Wet Hot American Summer.
Okay. All right. How about Sam Levine?
Oh, shoot!
He
And
does the voice.
you can't use the one other movie I can think of because I think we already said
Did we?
it.
Oh,
You
no,
saying
or
Glorious
was that last
Bastards?
round? That was last round
Oh,
with Michael Fassbender, so it's up for
oh yeah, you're
grabs.
right.
Yeah.
All right, well, saying Glorious Bastards, sure.
Okay. There you go. You saved yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So Glorious Bastards. I'll say Mike Myers. Remember he shows up in Glorious Bastards.
Okay, Mike Myers. I'll say Wayne's World.
Okay. I'll just. I could go Tia Carrere, but then you'd probably get stumped. You know what?
You could, but
I'll say Robert Patrick, the T-1000,
okay.
because remember he does a
Oh,
cameo as the T-1000 in that movie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could say Peacemaker because he's in that and he's great in that. But
Well, I just hinted at a pretty big movie that he's in
yeah,
as the T-1000. You could
yeah.
just say
I
that
was,
movie.
I'm trying to think of anything else, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just go with Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Okay. Okay. Well, and that one, all right, I'm going to try to mess with you now. So I'm going to go Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong. Oh. Uh, I don't know. Like, I can just throw out one that he has the vibe for, but he's probably not in it. I'm gonna say the Lost Boys. He's probably not in that one, but
No, he's not the Lost Boys. He's a
yeah.
little he was. I don't think he was
I
even.
can't think what.
Well, he was like a little kid in that movie. But
Oh yeah,
all right. Well, I'll tell you what you could have said since I guess you're tapping out on Edward Furlong.
yeah, yeah.
He's in American History X. He's Edward Norton's little
Oh
brother.
yeah. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Shoot.
yeah. Probably one of his
All right.
last big ones. He's also in the Crow City of Angels in the
Oh
sequel.
yeah.
Anyways, he's in
I
a
haven't even
movie
seen the
called
original Crow
Pecker.
yet. So
Yeah, he's in a movie called Pecker. One of what's his name's movies, John Waters movies, things like that. So he's in a couple
oh
things,
yeah,
mostly '90s stuff. But all
yeah.
right, well, we had a couple of rounds of that. You want to switch to some Would You Rather stuff and lighten it up a little bit?
Sure.
We
Yeah.
named a lot of movies, so
Yeah.
let me
Sounds
pick
good.
through some of these and let's see. All right, so these are some goofy ones. I have these cards that are like these Would You Rather cards. I got from somewhere. So,
Yeah.
all right, so here. All right, this was kind of a gross body one, so we'll get to some goofy stuff here. All right, would you rather lick someone's eyeball or have your eyeballs licked by somebody else?
Probably have my eyeball licked by somebody else, I guess, because I don't want to put my tongue anywhere near an eyeball. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
true. I'm kind of leaning the same way because maybe if I could choose, I could have a really hot girl do it, and maybe I'll feel a little bit better
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, right.
And maybe it'd be like kind of sexy. I don't know.
Well, I have had fish eyes before. Like I didn't mean to,
Okay.
but like we were just eating fish. I can't remember where we were at. I think I was at somebody's house, funny enough, and they had fish that had the head on it, and they just dared me to just eat the eyeball. Like you can eat it until I tried it.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. Yeah.
It's like there's that scene in My Big Fat Greek Wedding where the aunt's trying to she's telling her about their Christmas traditions, and the aunt is always trying to get her to eat the lamb's eyeball because it'll make her smart. Yeah, it's gross. All right, so would you rather discover space aliens that are smarter than us or dumber than us?
I don't know because if they're If you discover ones that are smarter than us, they might attack. But even if they're dumber than us, they still might attack. I don't know.
Well, and if they're dumber, that might be very disappointing to know that there's aliens out there, but they're really
Yeah.
stupid. Like maybe they're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
really dumb. Like it'd be like disappointing. Like oh, there's life in the universe where they're really dumb, but like if they're smarter, they might want to just wipe us out because they're smarter than us and they see us as inferior, or
Yeah.
or they could be friendly and teach us a lot of stuff, and it would take our humanity in a whole nother direction. So I mean,
Yeah.
I
Probably
would almost.
smarter, I'd say.
I would almost say dumber, just in case they are hostile. We could outsmart them and beat them, and not be
Yeah,
destroyed.
it is
Just
true. But
it's disappointing,
but
but at least like we would have a chance if they were
but they're
stupid.
but if they're dumber than us, you wonder how they even got to our planet. It must have been sheer like dumb luck or something.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
well, it might be a thing where maybe they got shot off by somebody and they just landed here for some reason, floating in the universe or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
who
right.
knows? Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's like idiocracy where they was like smart people on the planet and they all died off, and then like all the dumb ones were the ones who escaped and outscrewed all the smart ones that just lived
Yeah, right.
outlived
Yeah.
everybody else. All
Yeah.
right, let's see. All right, so would you rather drink a glass of your own day old spit or your own sweat?
Oh man. They were getting Jackass vibes. It's like the thing where they had to drink the guy's sweat or whatever.
Oh,
Oh,
the sweat cocktail or whatever that Steve-O had to drink,
yeah,
like Preston
yeah.
sweat cocktail. Yeah, that was gross. That's
Probably
disgusting.
this is your own, right? It's not somebody
It's
else's.
your own, so at least it's your own. It's your own fluids, not somebody
Yeah.
else's. It's still gross, but at least it's not somebody else's.
If it's my own, I probably I don't know. I probably go with just spit because I know that the spit just comes from my mouth, but sweat can come from anywhere. It can come from your butt
You
crack. It
could
can
get
come
like
from
ass
anything.
sweat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Ass sweat. Some
Maybe
booty
like
sweat.
swamp
Yeah,
ass sweat. Yeah, that'd be kind
yeah,
of gross.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess I would do
yeah,
the spit because I've heard that no matter what you drink, like if you drink a bottle of water, there's always some kind of backwash in the bottom, so that's a little bit of your own spit. But like
yeah.
yeah, it's a full glass. I would just pound it down. I guess I would have to, but yeah.
And also
So
sometimes
let's.
like family members and couples share the same drink. Sometimes it just happens. So yeah.
All right. Would you rather, if you had to be a pet, would you rather be somebody's pet cat or pet dog?
Oh, I'd definitely rather be a dog for sure. Like I'm way more of a dog person than a cat person. Like I just no, like I'd be a dog for sure.
Yeah, probably because
Uh,
like people, you get more attention as like a dog. There's a lot of people that are like they don't like cats and they're like allergic to them and shit, and like they just think they're evil. And then like with the dog thing, at least like you get okay food and like you just sleep a lot. If you want to just go off and sleep, like nobody bothers you if you're a dog. You just want to like sleep somewhere, like nobody cares.
yeah,
You just go
yeah,
do your business and just like hang out. And like most of the time, they'll like let you sleep on a bed. Like the cats, they just tell them to like,
yeah. Like
just like they
get
don't want you
out.
anywhere near like they don't want you anywhere near their room. They just like they just set up like some little area. Like at least like my dog sleeps in my bed, so like at least you sleep in a comfy bed every night, and
Yeah, right.
like hang out and get to go places and stuff. Like, you can't really take a cat places either. You just let them like do their own thing. Like at least with a dog, like maybe they'll take me on field trips and stuff. Go somewhere.
Yeah, you never really
Like, if I
see
was
people.
if I was cognizant, I could sit in the living room and watch whatever movies they're watching, and just like
Yeah,
hang out.
right. Well, we never really see people driving around with a cat in their car, but you see dogs all the time. So,
Yeah, dogs all the time. So yeah, they go somewhere, and
yeah,
they're allowed in more places than cats. You know what I mean? Like you could take a dog around here to like a brewery, like sit outside, like just hang out.
yeah.
It'd be a lot more fun. At
But
least
funny
overall.
enough, though, my ex's parents, they had this cat that for some reason they'd always sit and watch The Walking Dead with us whenever we would watch that. Like
Hmm.
would like always come in and like sit and be staring at the TV the whole time. But it's only during The Walking Dead. It was like never anything else that we watched. It was like really weird. I don't know.
Well,
Who knows?
all right. So in one sitting, all in one sitting, would you rather eat 10 pounds of cheese or a bucket of peanut butter with nothing to drink with it?
Ooh. Well, like I don't know. Those are both things that I could sit and eat on their own, but like that much in one sitting. Because like if you eat too much cheese, you're gonna be constipated, like bad.
Yeah.
but then the peanut butter maybe also. I don't know.
I can't go
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 scoops of peanut butter without taking a sip of water or something. Like
Yeah.
that shit gets stuck to you like real quick. But yeah, a whole bucket of it would be kind of daunting. Yeah, the cheese thing is, yeah, you're gonna be really messed up for a while if you eat that much cheese. Like you're gonna be
Yeah.
blocked up. You might die.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
super
Well, they
blocked up.
like cheese too. Like when you cook it too, it has all this oil that comes out and stuff, so it just feels
Oh
really
yeah.
greasy after a while. It's like, but probably I'd go with peanut butter. I would think.
Yeah, probably. I like peanut butter
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
All right. Would you rather be able to sleep upside down like a bat or sleep standing up like a cow?
Mm.
I think I go with the
I don't know.
standing up thing because then I can fall asleep anywhere. 'Cause then it's
Yeah,
like,
the standing up.
because then there'd be situations where like if you can't sit down somewhere, at least you could still sleep. Like I could just lean up against the wall and just go to sleep. Like if there's nowhere to, if you like staying over
Yeah,
somebody's house, and there's nowhere to sleep on the floor, you just stand up and go to bed. Like that wouldn't be
yeah.
that bad.
Like, and you wouldn't have all the blood rushing to your head if you're upside down, you know. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, who knows?
Yeah, for sure,
Let's
standing up.
see. Ew, that's gross. I don't want to do more weird body stuff. It's like
Well,
all these like
it's
weird
you.
body things. All right, so would you rather paint a large wall with a toothbrush or paint it with a spoon?
uh, Probably a toothbrush because I mean a spoon it doesn't really do anything. Like it, I don't know. Even if you cover it in paint, it doesn't seem like it'd do anything. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, I guess you could paint it, it just wouldn't be very accurate. Like the toothbrush
Yeah,
would at least be accurate, but like I think at least with the spoon you could get the paint bucket and at least like take the spoon and like flick it up onto the wall
yeah.
in like big chunks and then
You can
spread
flick
it
it up
around.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can like
It is
scoop it
true.
onto there and then just like use the back of the spoon to at least like spread it around. Like it'd be a horrible paint job, but nobody's saying you had to do a good job. It just says
Yeah,
paint a wall.
true,
Nobody says
true.
it has to be perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's true.
all right, so let's see. Um, let's see. Sorry, hang on. I didn't really like pre-screen these. All right, so
Wait here,
would you? Oh,
because
geez, I felt,
I was just
dude.
curious how that even happened, Steven. You fell asleep all
Dude, I
while.
damn near fell asleep while I was working one time on my overnight shift at work, like to where I legit could have fallen asleep. Like I put my head up against the shelf, like while I was standing up, and I legit was so tired, like I almost fell asleep just standing up, like with my head against the shelf. Like I had to like run around and do like a lap around the store to like wake up. Like it was ridiculous. Like energy drinks were just beyond the point of working. Like it was really bad.
Yeah, it happened once to me where I almost fell asleep on a ladder once because, uh, and funny enough, it's actually in a grocery store because I used to do uh resets. I don't know if I think they have Albertsons back east. They don't have Safeway, but they're like essentially the same company. And so we were doing resets overnight for them, and and like I was just standing on a ladder, just waiting for someone to go and like get me something, and I just kind of like dozed off, and then I kind of like slipped a little bit, and then it like jarred me
Like,
awake. I'm
oh
like,
shit.
all right, well, I'm wide awake now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. So, would you rather always have to write with your opposite hand, the one that you don't usually write with, or always have to write with your eyes closed?
Probably with the opposite hand because I feel like eventually you get used to it and like maybe get better with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you get better with it. Yeah, because I'm left-handed, but yeah, I guess if you practice enough, like you could get okay with it. Like if you had to do it like every day, like you get better. But like I guess it depends on what I'm writing. Because if I'm just writing personal notes, like I could probably do a decent job with my eyes closed, but at
Yeah.
least for a little while, at least for a little bit. But like then you can start to get like you start to go faster, you get a little sloppy. Uh,
Well, you don't want to see me write with my left hand in it because I'm right-handed, and like when I write with the opposite, it looks like a 5-year-old wrote it. Like it's bad. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So, all right. Would you rather wear a bicycle helmet everywhere you went, or carry an open umbrella everywhere you go?
Mm, Probably the umbrella because I think the umbrella would like be like more useful for some things. I mean, the like bike helmet's basically like if you're on like a moving vehicle or a bike or something. But Yeah.
Well, and you wear the bicycle helmet everywhere, people are going to think you're special. But
Yeah, yeah. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of those helmet kids. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We used to have one of those in my school. A kid who wore the helmet all
Same.
the time. It was like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean they're special. They could have something where maybe they have like a really soft skull or something, and they have to protect their head, from even the most minor, like, you can't even bump
Yeah.
your head on the wall or
Well,
anything. You hurt yourself really bad.
yeah. When I was in high school, we had this guy that always had a helmet on named Philip, and like one day, I don't know what happened, but like he had like people that were supposed to be like watching him all the time, and he just runs into the cafeteria and he's like screaming, and he gets up on like the lunch tables and he's like running across all the lunch tables, and we're like, what in the world is even happening? We're like, okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
All right. Would you rather shave off all the hair on your body, including your eyebrows, or dye all the hair on your body neon green?
Well, okay, here's a little secret about me. Like I have shaved almost all the hair on my body before, so that's like a pretty easy. But I haven't shaved my eyebrows though. But I've come close to like everything else. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
I
I'll
might
go with that.
I might go I'll go with the shaved, yeah, shave everything, because like at least maybe I can go around and be like, I'm the amazing hairless boy, I'm like a carnival person. I'm the freak with no hair.
Yeah,
Just tell
yeah.
everybody I don't have any hair. Be like, I have a genetic disorder where I can't grow any hair or something. You could say that
Well, like
to people.
so there's like a little like quick little story that there's this girl that I was dating, and we went on a road trip from Boise down to Salt Lake, and she had her best friend coming, and he was dating this guy that was kind of like a big kind of like kind of guy with a stocky build, and he shaved like everything, including his eyebrows, because he was in some kind of play where like the role like required him to do that, so he had to do it. Like literally, he looked like the guy from the Goonies. They're like, "Hey, you guys," or whatever. Is it Chunk, or like I forget what the name what that guy's name is, but yeah, like he looked exactly like them. So we kept saying it to him the whole entire trip. Like every time he would talk, be like, "Hey, you guys, Rocky Road,"
Yeah,
yeah, Baby Ruth.
yeah. Let's see. All right, would you rather wear a hairnet all the time or wear a red clown nose all the time?
Mm, I don't. I don't know. They're both kind of like equally as like annoying. So
It's equally
probably,
embarrassing. Yeah.
yeah, probably the clown nose, just because like the hairnet makes you look like a lunch lady. So I'll just go with the clown nose.
At least the clown nose be like, "Oh, I'm like a children's entertainer. I'm just trying to make the kids laugh,"
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Or you
yeah,
just be like, I mean, people would think you're just going somewhere. It's just like a joke or something.
yeah,
Like the hairnet, they'd be like, "Would you just get off the fucking deli line and you're still wearing your hairnet, you weirdo?
yeah,
Like, keep your
yeah, right.
hairnet up." Like what do you
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
It's like when people see people wearing like their hospital scrubs still like walking around like grocery shopping. Like, do they not change out of those until they get home? Like, I
yeah,
would
yeah,
change out of
right.
those like immediately. Like, I've always thought that
Yeah,
was
same.
a little strange. Like, just wearing your scrubs everywhere, like around town. I don't know. Like, wouldn't you want to keep those kind of clean, like, and take those off like as
Yeah.
soon as you get off work? But I don't know.
Well, they're comfortable because I used to work in the medical field some, but like that, but yeah, just coming out of the hospital, you don't want to like potentially spread anything either, so you want to change.
All right. Would you rather get hit with lightning or be bitten by a shark?
uh, I don't know. Probably lightning. I don't know. Like you never know. Like I don't think you get like cool powers per se, but maybe you'll like be like more sensitive to like electric stuff. I don't know. But like a shark bite, that's like bad no matter what. There's no like
Yeah, I
real
think I think the
upside.
shark bite would be worse because whatever the chunk the shark takes out of you, it's not going to grow back. You're just going to have a giant hole in your
Yeah,
body. So like you see
yeah,
those things where like if you've seen those things where like those guys get bitten in the leg and like they just have a huge chunk of their leg missing for the rest of their life. Like it doesn't like grow back. So you just got like half a leg. The rest of your life, or some big chunk taken out of your stomach or something. But like at least with the
yeah,
lightning, it'd be quick. You wouldn't even know what would happen. You would get hit
yeah,
with the lightning and you'd be out. Like somebody would just
yeah,
find you. You know what I mean? So like it wouldn't wouldn't necessarily be painful because it would just hit you and it would probably be instantaneous. Like not necessarily. I mean, this isn't saying that you would die. Just at least like that, it's just over with. Just like that. And if you survive, like you'd probably be in the hospital for a little while, but like I think there'd be less side effects. Like if that makes sense. Like you'd probably eventually recover. Like at least you wouldn't have anything missing. Like I don't think you would have you wouldn't lose like body parts or anything. So I would probably go with the lightning.
You'd be like the guy from Benjamin Button, man, where he's like, I've been struck by lightning 6 times.
Six times.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Maybe be like more electric prone or something. Yeah, you get around stuff and like your hair stands up on your arm or whatever. But like that's not that big a deal. You could like be like a human science experiment. So
Yep.
All right. Let's see. All right. As a girl, if you were a girl, would you rather have a boy's name or have 10 brothers?
I'd probably rather have 10 brothers just because it's just more siblings. I mean, I don't know. I mean, be the only girl.
Well, nowadays, what's a boy's name? Like half the names are like both boys and girl names,
Yeah, right.
Like they've kind of been like, it's like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. Like Ashley used to be like just a girl's name, but there's like Ash from Evil Dead is like Ashley, or like, half the names are just like whatever. So, I mean,
like even our names, like
it would just
like
be
Jordan
unique.
or Austin could be a boy's name or a girl's name. So that's
or a girl's name. Yeah. There's girl Jordans. I've known girl Jordans.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would just, one or two more, then we'll wrap it up here. Let's see. All right. Yeah. So, would you rather have to always wear 3D glasses like that guy in Back to the Future, or have to wear a milk mustache all the time?
Well, probably 3D glasses because the milk mustache people are gonna make jokes like dirty jokes like they're gonna be like the whole that thing.
Gonna dry out. Gonna dry out. Look stupid.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like something else that's not milk. That's white. Yeah, it just look a little weird. Yeah.
All right. So, if you were a stuntman, would you rather jump off a cliff into water with a blindfold on, or jump from a cliff twice as high as the other one, but without the blindfold, where you can see?
Probably without the blindfold. I mean, at least you see where you're gonna jump.
Well, let's just say hypothetically, I think the scenario is that you'll be completely safe. Like wherever you land, you'll be okay. I'm assuming, like you're not gonna die. But
we're gonna be safe. Then I guess you could do it with the blindfold on. But at the same time, though, like, well, you may not die, but you may break a leg or your arm or something. Maybe I don't know if you hit the wrong.
thing. I don't like the idea of the blindfold because I don't know how far I'm falling or for how long. It's like I don't have any awareness, like spatial awareness. It's I don't know how long I'm falling for. It's like, at least with the blindfold off, you can be like, oh, I'm almost there, and and as scary as it would be, like at least I would want to have that experience at least once, and you could be like, oh, that was crazy how I was like, still falling, and it was interesting.
Well, like growing up, like there's this lake it's called Black Canyon Reservoir that we'd go and like jump off these cliffs in the water. The cliffs weren't crazy high. They're like 30 feet up, but nothing too crazy. But then they had this train bridge that was literally like double that or even more. It was like 60, 70 feet up. Like it was high. Like that shit was scary. And so, but people would jump off of it all the time. It'd be the thing that, like anyone can jump off the cliffs here, but are you brave enough to jump off the train bridge? And it's like, oh, like I never did it. Yeah. Like it was way up there. I'm just like, man, that is nuts.
Well, speaking of trains, maybe we'll end on this one. Would you rather have to run across the top of 5 cars of a fast train, or have to slowly inch your way along a 6-inch ledge around the top of a tall building?
Probably, I don't know, man. They do trains in the movies and they make it look like it's easy, but I don't know.
Here's my logic. I think I would be way more nervous with the building thing, because like that would be way more nerve wracking. Like because you're just slowly edging along, thinking you're gonna fall, and, like the heights thing and all that. I think at least with the train thing, like if you fail, it would suck, but like at least your adrenaline would probably be going a little more. Like if you just started running and jumping and stuff, you probably wouldn't think about it as much. Like you wouldn't be as scared. You would just do it.
Yeah.
like it's not just like you inching your way along. Like if you're just running and jumping because you just got to run across the 5. Like I would at least just be like, all right, let's fucking go and just keep the momentum going. And just go. And it's like,
yeah, right.
yeah, at least I'm not like slowly inching my way across some building with like wind coming in and birds flying all over the place and trying to knock me off and think I'm gonna like fall off a building. Like if I miss, I just fall, but whatever. With the trains.
Yeah.
That would be my logic, personally.
Yeah. Well, speaking of trains, also, you seen the new trailer for that movie Bullet Train that came out? The one with like Brad.
Yeah, it played with the Batman, so I got to see it. Yeah, it looks interesting.
Looks pretty good. Like it has like a pretty solid cast, and it kind of has some vibes, almost of like maybe like a Guy Ritchie movie, or even like some borderline Tarantino stuff. Maybe like it kind of does a little bit. So
yeah, it's
like,
the guy who did. It's the guy who directed one of those Deadpool movies, so the action will be pretty good. Like the action should be pretty well choreographed and stuff. So and it's got the dude who played Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movies is one of the guys in that movie, like one of the assassins. So that should be good. Or at least awesome. Maybe they'll have a good fight scene.
Yeah. And the guy from the beginning, the like that main Asian guy who's in like a ton of different Asian movies, like Hiroki Sanada or something like that.
That's who I was talking about. He's a Scorpion guy.
Oh, Sam. Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
He played Scorpion. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's got him in there, and then apparently Sandra Bullock's in it, but you don't see her. You just kind of hear her voice.
Show her in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, you just hear her voice. She's the one Brad Pitt's talking to in the beginning. That's like giving him like the directions or whatever. So, yeah. But yeah, that was fun though. It was fun to kind of get back into the podcast more, kind of for anyone watching, get a little behind the scenes look at like some of our lives and some things about the channel. And actually, to close it out, I'll even give you a little update that has a few episodes extra than what I normally tell everyone when we do our plugs. I'll give maybe like 7 or 8 of like the upcoming tier rankers and tournament fights we have coming up. So, but we'll start with you, Austin. Though, where can the people find you?
Well, we just did here on this Movie Hero Network. Jacob and I just did an episode on Saturday, so you can find it on the channel. We just did another podcast about movies episode, so we got another one out. And what we did on that was we talked about just sequels that we feel like don't get enough love, or just underrated sequels, things like that. Just ones we want to recommend. So again, we try to make that show more of like a fun, like, check this out, check that out, sort of a show, just ones talking about stuff we really like. And so we talked about some sequels on there that don't get enough love. So that was fun. And then, this Wednesday, me and Henry Sanchez on the Henry Confidential channel will be doing a mega Batman ranking of 15 movies. So that'll be a long, crazy episode. So including the new one. So I'm still working on my list. 'Cause man, like my top 5, like Batman movies, like, it's gonna be tough. Like I might be changing it like last minute before we even start, because like the other ones, I'm pretty solid on my rankings, but like my top 5 is like so close between like all of them. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know like what I'll end up on. We'll see.
Well, I'm on record as saying I think I actually put it on social media the other day that I've yet to see a bad Batman movie. Like I acknowledge that like Batman and Robin's like probably the worst one, but even that, like I have fun watching Arnold. I have fun with a couple things in there. So like I've yet to see a Batman movie that I actually can confidently say that I hated that movie. So yeah, they're all pretty solid for the most part. I mean Batman and Robin aside, but yeah. Yeah.
I need to finish the Lego Batman. It's hard because that movie gives me a physical headache. Like the frantic nature of that movie just like gives me a headache. Like I don't know. I need to.
Yeah, the franticness where he's running everywhere. Just
I just like the opening scene. I remember I started to watch it on a plane. We were on a plane. And I started to watch like the first 10 minutes, and that first opening scene is just so manic, just like cut like all over the place, and like I got such a headache. I was just like, I gotta fucking watch something else, and I think I turned it off and just started watching like Empire Strikes Back or something, like something I'd already seen before. Like those planes have like an on-demand thing, and I was just like, I just can't do this, man. Like it's just too much. I was getting sick.
More of a slower pace.
Yeah. So we'll see. I need to finish it.
Yeah. Well, cool. So just a few upcoming episodes that we have coming up. So tomorrow we're going to be doing our comedy championship, which I'm actually pretty excited about, because when I went through on my letterbox, the way that I did, like I made a pretty definitive ranking, which is like, so if you think about it, this is a championship. So we're gonna have movies in almost every tier. So some movies that we once ranked F, I mean S are gonna end up in like the like C, D, maybe even F compared to like what we have on the list, you know. So it's kind of gonna be one of those things where like it's gonna be tough. So
It'd be
yeah,
fun.
so
If it's as crazy and hard as our horror championship was, like it'll definitely be pretty hard. So because that episode was tough to kind of nail down the top 10 on that one. So because there was a few obvious ones, but then like some of the other ones, once we got past like the top 4 or 5, you know, getting into that nitty gritty to see what makes it. Yeah, like you said, like there's stuff that we acknowledge. It's like we always, you know, on that episode we acknowledge like all these movies are S tier. Like they all made the S tier on the other episodes. Like they're all great movies.
all S tier. Yeah.
But it's like now we're literally judging them up against each other. Like how would I rank it up against the other movies on the list? And like when it comes to that, something might end up on the C or D tier, you know, just compared to So we'll see.
Yep, exactly. I'm pretty excited for the panel because we have Moose Haas coming back and also brother Lomas, so they have great chemistry. And then we're gonna have Jordan Owens and Jacob Barber, and they have great chemistry. So I think it's gonna be a pretty solid panel. So
be a fun episode,
yeah. But then this Friday we're doing best action heroes. So pretty much any of the like mainstream like top action heroes that you can think of, they're gonna be in a big giant tournament. So you'll see like probably at least a few Arnold Schwarzenegger, some Sylvester Stallone's on there. Some, I mean, just like some of the like kung fu guys will be on there. So like a bunch of those guys, you'll see them all on there. So yeah, we got that. We got that one coming up. Then we got the next in our Best Picture Oscar series. So we're going to be doing 1991 to 2002. So we got that one coming up. We're just working our way backwards, and we'll probably go like maybe, I don't know, like somewhere like in the 60s. Maybe we'll finally stop it at a certain point. But yeah, we're just gonna keep on moving on that one. So
probably mid to late 60s, because the late 60s was when there was kind of a revolution in filmmaking. Like you started getting those crazier movies in the late 60s. The Graduate and Midnight Cowboy and you know, some of the edgier, harder movies. Because once you get back into like the early 60s and the 50s, you get just like the musicals and the cookie cutter kind of like, you know, classic movies. You know, like you know, we go more for the edgier stuff. So yeah, we'll kind of just see. It might just be how the math works out. You know, when we eventually get back into like that era, you know, just how far we go back and see. And go, because you get too far back and you get into movies that like not a whole lot of people have seen. Even hardcore, you know, movie fans haven't seen some of those ones that don't get talked about a lot that got nominated for Best Picture. So
yeah, and then we also have part 2 of our Best One Crazy Night movies. So we already did a part 1, so we're gonna have part 2. So we got a couple of series going like that where we're gonna take the Sweet 16 from part 1 and part 2. We're gonna do a half tournament because we'll have 2 kind of longer ones, and we'll do a shorter one for the championship that'll just have 32. So we got part 2 coming up. We're also doing part 2 for the rom-com. So we'll have that one too. We also have an episode coming up for our worst movies of all time. It's going to be a tournament fight battles. It's going to be our straight up worst movies that like we personally had a terrible experience watching. Like whether it was a theater experience, we watched it at home and we just couldn't get through it, and when we walked into the theater, or we kind of wish we would have walked out of the theater, like that kind of stuff, you know. So, and also for that one, we'll be voting on the worst too. So the one that's going to win is going to be.
It'll be like the episode we did. We had a lot of fun where we were actually voting on like some of the worst movies of all time, like, you know, Rotten Tomatoes, Razzie kind of movies, you know. And we were in that one. We voted for like what we thought was the worst movie, not necessarily what we thought was the best out of the two. So we kind of flipped it. You know, we're voting for which one we think is just horrible. Yeah. So
it'll be fun to kind of just shoot on a bunch of movies for an episode just to talk about the worst things about it, because it's kind of funny and fun sometimes to just kind of poke fun at.
And of course there will be picks where like there'll be 1 or 2 people on the panel. I'm sure they'll be like, I like that movie. I don't think that movie's that bad. You know, right? Be like, I hate that movie, because these are all personal picks, not just like, you know, ones from like the bottom Rotten Tomatoes or something. Just ones we personally just maybe hate for whatever reason. So that'll be interesting. See everybody's picks.
Yeah, then just a couple more that I'll just kind of run through quickly here. I won't get into them as much, but we're going to be doing one for best video games of all time, which might be a little tough because it's going to be a tier ranker fight. So I don't know.
Oh,
we're going to have everybody.
oh, the actual video games. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So this one will be for the video game movies, is what it'll be. So,
oh, tournament fight. That's a tournament fight for video game movies because we did it.
You're right. For some reason, I have it down as a tier ranker.
No, because tier ranker. What would you put in the S tier for video games?
That's what I was just
Most
thinking.
Most of them kind of stink. It's like those are kind of terrible. No. So I stretched out. No, I already made that list to anybody who's watching. You'll get a little preview of like how I kind of made the list. So really, when I compiled all the video game movies, so I started looking them up. Unless you dive into like all the direct-to-video like sequels, which I'm trying not to go into unless you have to. All the theatrical stuff, there was only about 49 or 50 of them. So there wasn't even enough really for the whole bracket. So what I did to fill out the list was I got into movies. I picked out some movies that are like about video games in general or about like video game culture or where video games play a heavy part in the movie. So stuff like The Wizard with Fred Savage or stuff like Ready Player One or stuff like Grandma's Boy, which is like all about them working at a video game place, making video games and things like that. So, so I pulled a few, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, things like that. So where video games are kind of heavy in the movie. So we plugged in some of those, even the two Jumanji movies, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji Next Level, because they're inside of a video game. So that makes sense too. So those movies will be in the tournament as well. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, it works better if it's a tournament because you can't really be like, these are the S levels. It might just be like which one we prefer. The other, a lot of mediocre movies, maybe. So we'll see. We'll talk about it. But
Well, for the worst movies, we have Steven on the chat that says it'll probably be me, the one to say like, I actually like that. I think the movie. Well, Steven,
it's either you or Malcolm. You or Malcolm,
right?
Yeah. It's either you or Malcolm that'll be like, that movie's really good. I like that movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, he'd be like, I really liked that movie, DOA, or like whatever horrible movie. yeah. But and then we already mentioned the best combat sports, so that'll finish out our sports series finally. So we'll have a championship probably about a month from then, and then we also have best tag team wrestlers that we already talked about. And then best 80s sitcoms coming up because we're also doing a series for sitcoms, so that'll be coming up. So.
Well, yeah, we still got to do our 70s sitcom as well. So we got 2 more sitcom decades we got to get to, and then we'll get to a championship for that episode. So yeah, 80s, you might see your Family Ties, your Facts of Life,
like
stuff like that. Just growing pains, all that kind of jazz. And then we get to 70s, you'll get like your 70s, you'll get your All in the Families and your Sanford and Sons and your Mork and Mindy's and Taxi and all that good stuff. So that'll be interesting, man. But, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, usually for these series, we've been kind of doing them once a month, so the series kind of are just kind of like we have them kind of like staggered. So we have like one series going 1 month, and then maybe like we'll start one a couple of weeks later, and another one a couple of weeks later, and then so we'll have the staggered championships. So you'll kind of see them come and go. We're doing a bunch. And
then the next one that we'll start, we're going to do action movies of each decade going back to the 70s. So that'll be a little preview. Anybody watching of the next actual series we'll do that'll lead up to a championship will be just straight action movies. So we'll do action movies of the 2010s and the 80s and the 90s, and some of those decades are like. There's some bonkers 90s action movies. There's some crazy 80s action movies, obviously. And obviously the 2010s were crazy, once the John Wick movies kind of came around and Mad Max Fury Road, all that kind of stuff. So, there'll be some crazy decades when it comes to that.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun once we get to that.
Steven actually does like DOA. So, hey.
Of course you do.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, it's in the tournament, so you can vote to your heart's desire.
Yeah. But yeah. If anybody watching, if you want to get in on any of those panels that we're doing, you can just send me a message on social media. We're always looking for some good guests to join us on the panels. Or if you have any ideas, you can hit me up too. We also have an email too. Like if you have a longer list that you want to send, like a bunch of different ideas, you can go to moviehero2121@gmail.com. You can hit us up there, or just on any of the social medias. Where you can
just message us. DM
Yeah.
us. We're around.
Yeah,
You know, we're around.
we're
But
around.
Jordan's potential schedule of topics is getting pretty lengthy, so we've got enough to keep us
Yeah, it
going for
is.
a while. You know, so I mean the dates change here and there, but yeah, we've got enough topics to kind of lay us out for almost a year or two at this point.
Yeah,
So we got
yeah,
plenty.
right. Like we want to know the real behind the scenes stuff. Like I have topics on a tentative schedule, like they're subject to change till like
Hmm.
next January. So we have a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
we're full up, but we make exceptions. Obviously, we get people that want to do their top 64, so we work those in once a month.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Moose Haas expressed interest on that last episode of doing a 64, so we'll work his in at some point, instead of something else, and or if there's something that's kind of topical with something else, we'll work that in, with something that's kind of topical or whatever
Yeah,
the case may be. So yeah, we always we adjust things, but yeah, as far as like the list of topics, I remember
yeah.
when we were brainstorming the channel at first, like we were all just throwing topics out there, and he's like, "I'll add to the list. I'll add to the list. I'll add to the list." And just like now we got this list that's a mile long of topics to do. But hey, I guess it's better to have plenty of topics and not run out of stuff, than and to have plenty of things to pick from, and be
We
short
have,
on things to do.
we also have Brian in the chat. I'll just tell you that you're gonna have to watch on our social media for me to reveal the upcoming schedule. I can't DM you the entire schedule, so just know that. Like I can listen here, and then also usually at the first of every month I'll do an extended one that's like about 15 to 20 episodes out, so you can watch for that. So
Yeah.
you can see it there. So but yeah, so that's pretty much where you can find us. So that was a fun time. So thanks again, Austin, for
Mhm.
finally getting one of these going again.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this one's just the extra ones. We got so many shows going on with all of us that it's hard to find time to do this. But we'll just have to do it whenever we have some time. And yeah, sometimes we'll roll with just the two of us, or Jacob's kind of a part of the channel right now, so sometimes we'll get Jacob in here and do like a three-way show. Whenever Chris is available, we'll do a three-way show. Just whoever's
Yeah.
available, kind of hanging around. So we'll do
Yeah.
shows like this. Just talk about random stuff.
Yeah, so if you haven't hit the subscribe button or the little notification, the notification thing actually helps. So you actually know when we do stuff like this that's kind of not always on a set schedule.
You go live, yeah, you'll get a little
yeah.
notification. Hey, they're doing an episode. Oh, shit, I didn't know they were
Yeah.
doing an episode.
Yeah,
There you go.
right. Yeah, so but anyways, that'll do it for us tonight. So for Austin Pez Howell, I've been Jordan Movie Hero Anderson, and we'll see you guys next time.